FC on San Diego Sports 760 on the call this upcoming weekend when SDFC takes on Charlotte. He will join us coming up in 15 minutes. So we'll talk to Adrian Garcia Marquez at 2:15. We'll talk about the Padres a lot today, including with David J. Mad Friars on not just the state of the big league team, but also the minor league system as well. I had Kevin on yesterday, as you know. He's our Padres insider. And we both decided we've run out of things to really say here because they're 15-4. It's the best record still in baseball. They've matched the best record again with the 98 Padres, who got to 16-4, by the way. So they would need to win on Friday against the Houston Astros. But more of the same yesterday, Jim. They fall behind. They come back. Tatis was clutch. Manny came through with a couple of hits. The bullpen's the bullpen, and the Padres are 12-1 at home. I mean, we live in a world where the Padres are 12-1 at Petco Park this year. That's a good world for them.
That's a nice world.
Yeah.
I like that world a lot. It was a lot of the same yesterday. Great pitching, timely hitting, great bullpen.
Yeah.
And picking up another win. And you look at the entirety of the National League West now.
It's really good.
Without the Padres literally going 12-1 at home to start their year and off to this amazing 15-4 start, they could be looking up 3, 4, 5 games behind if they just kind of started out, 500 this year already. Again, small sample size, it's early, but everybody in the National League West, except for the awful Rockies, which we don't count them, has been playing great baseball.
To your point, dude, it's like we say that the Padres are 12-1 at home, and that sounds incredible, and it is. You look at some of these other marks for these teams. The Giants are 9-3 on the road. That's incredibly impressive, even if it's a small sample size. And then the Dodgers are 10-2 at home. So very similar to what the Padres have done this year. And here's what I would say. You're right, it's April, and you can't obsess over standings. But what I do know is these teams, if it's not all 4 of these teams, Jim, 3 of them are going to be good. I mean, I'm telling you right now, San Diego's good. I've run out of yesterday in the chat, I went off me. Someone's like, oh, they're not clicking at all cylinders on offense. I'm like, stop. They're 15-4. So enough of poo-pooing what they've done. They're good. I don't know how good. And we know the Dodgers will be good. There's not a world we live in where the Dodgers aren't vying for the division or a playoff spot. So at least 2 of these teams are good. And I think out of the Giants and the Diamondbacks, one of them is going to be really good. So I think this division, again, it's only 20 games or whatever it is, but I'd be shocked if 3 of these teams weren't competing for a playoff spot this year.
Yeah, there will be 3. And I don't know the breakdown. Could you have all 4 be competing?
Because you have 3 wild cards. So 3 division. I'd be surprised, dude, because they're all playing each other.
But they aren't playing each other
you're right, like
a couple of years ago. It's a more balanced schedule now. So instead of 18 times versus an opponent, it's about 12.
Yeah, you're right.
So you can theoretically do that.
Yeah, because, to your point, you play 36 times against the other 3. Let's say 12 times 3 is 36. So if you're the Dbacks, you play the Padres 12, the Dodgers 12, the Giants 12. That's 36.
Yes.
It used to be 54.
I believe you.
It used to be 54 to your point.
Right.
So now you're right. Let's say in those 36 games, one of these teams isn't great. I'm making it up, 15-21. Yeah, but you have so many other opportunities that one of these teams can overcome not being great in the division, but beat up on other teams. Because one of these teams won't be great in the division, right? Because the division's really good. So how can they be?
Yeah, I guess.
I'm just saying against division opponents.
I guess the division
San Diego, San Francisco, LA, Arizona. One of these teams will have the worst record against the other 3.
Or they just all split the season series with each other and then beat up on everybody else.
True. It's possible.
Then you could say all 4 teams have around 90 wins.
Yeah.
One team probably is going to have around maybe 100 wins, maybe 2. Everyone's just going to beat up on the Rockies whenever they play the Rockies.
Yep.
And that's going to help these teams as well. The one team I think in the division that maybe struggles with the Rockies, that's going to hurt them the most potentially. Because if you got the Dodgers and Padres and they're beating up on the Rockies like they just have been doing, the other teams are going to need to keep pace. So you do kind of run out of things to say sometimes with the Padres early on in the season. And guess what? I will gladly take that. I will gladly sit here and think to myself, man, I don't know what else to say about this Padres team, because that means they're playing really good baseball. I think the recipe for success for this year, you can kind of feel like it's going to carry throughout the rest of the season. It's not always going to be like this,
Mm-hmm.
but we know the recipe, and it's pretty simple. Every team would love to have this, and this is the recipe for a lot of teams too. Timely hitting, really good starting pitching, and a dominant back end of your bullpen. When you have those three things, you're going to win a lot of games. You don't need to have a guy that hits 60 home runs for you. You don't need, the greatest offense ever. I mean, that'd be great, but if you don't have good pitching, you're not getting anywhere. And this team has good starting pitching, especially at home, and their bullpen, the back end especially,
It's been really good.
Lights out.
Yeah, like again, this idea that well, there's cause for alarm because their lineup isn't as good as it needs to be. I'm like, well, there's a reason. Jackson Merrill's out. He's one of the best players in the National League. And Jake Cronenworth's out. He's one of their key pieces. He might not be one of their top 4 offensive weapons, but he's a key piece. And like, still, I don't care. And here's the other thing. I mentioned this yesterday. It's like, okay, you're beating people 4-2 and you're not beating people 8-4. Does it matter at the end of the day? Like, they're playing to their strengths, to your point, which is their bullpen. Their starting pitching has been good. They turn over leads to their bullpen. The bullpen preserves leads. Look no further than yesterday. Wandy Peralta's out there in the 8th inning. I know he's been very good. The tying run is at second. He's facing Kyle Tucker. He strikes him out. So like a year or two ago, those pitchers aren't coming through in those spots. And there's Robert Suarez, who's been so good with the 9th inning. And then again, there's nothing to complain about. Like, if you're being a realist, how could you possibly say that the Padres haven't exceeded expectations? These aren't the expectations. They've exceeded expectations. So when you exceed expectations, you can't have anything to actually complain about.
Jeremiah Estrada, Wandy Peralta, like you mentioned, Robert Suarez. Oh, by the way, Jason Adam, throw him in there as well.
Yep, he was down, I think, yesterday, and they go to Peralta, and it works out,
Yuki Matsui.
Yep.
Adrian Morahone. That's right now, that's an elite bullpen.
Mm-hmm.
They are pitching like an elite bullpen. And guess what AJ Preller is going to do eventually this year?
Add to it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He is not going to just say this is fine, even though it's been amazing. And who knows what happens, for the next couple of months up until the trade deadline. But that's what, when you establish early on, an elite part of your team that is helping you win a bunch of games. If it's the bullpen, that's your elite part of your club so far. We already know that's the easiest to add to at the deadline without giving up some huge prospects.
They've done it a ton in recent years, and they've added some huge pieces.
Huge.
I mean, massive
last
additions.
year.
Yeah. Scott, Adam, who's still here. I mean, shoot, Brian Hoeing, I think, is a part of their plans, obviously, this year.
Yeah.
He just happens to be hurt. But no, you're right. I mean, this might be the earliest year that people will be talking about the trade deadline in San Diego. Now, typically, like a year ago, you weren't talking about the deadline. They added Luis Ariz. It was nowhere near the deadline. It was like the only quote-unquote big trade that happened within 2 months of the deadline because Preller has the ability to do that. People are going to be talking, if they keep winning, not even at this clip, but you look up in a month, Jim, and if they're, I don't even know, like 35-17, I'm making it up. I'm already thinking about additions. Like, you get off to one of these starts where you are having a year that they've never had before. They did it in 2021, actually. They got off to a really good start, and then it all turned around. But I'm just telling you, like, people are going to be talking about additions. People are already excited about what's possible with this team. And we said this the other day, too. I don't really want to fast forward to the end because I want to enjoy this all out. But I'm also curious, like, where does this end up? Because when you start like this, you want to know how it finishes because they have started as fast as they've ever started.
Because now your attention is like fully on this team. All fans' attention is every single game. What did the Padres do today?
Right.
It's like appointment viewing right now with this baseball team because of how well they're playing. And, back to the National League West, man, is it setting up to be an exciting summer.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe for some fans, exciting isn't the right word because it's going to be nerve-wracking and, tense and, every day you're looking up and the Padres have won, 6 in a row and they're 27 games over 500, yet they only have a half game lead in the division or something like that because the rest of the division is just bonkers right now. So you can use different words, but this season so far, it is shaping up to be one of those back and forth special summers. here in San Diego. And I can't wait. I'm so excited for the start, and I'm so excited for where this team could go because you see it. You know it's not like pretend. You know it's not fool's gold. They do need some things as far as outfield help goes, bench help. There's a couple players on this team. They're like, you can obviously upgrade there. But when you have a dominant bullpen like you do, and you're getting the starting pitching like you have been, Nick Pivetta has been. I mean, we said it. We said at the beginning of the year, we would have all loved Roki Sasaki. Absolutely, over a 6-year period, Roki Sasaki is a guy I would take over Nick Pivetta. But if you're looking for a guy that can help you the most this season, that's Nick Pivetta. And so far, dude's got a 1.57 ERA. He's 3-1 on the year, and at Petco Park, he's literally unhittable.
20 innings, 1 run at Petco so far this year, including 6 innings yesterday. No, you're right. I mean, the Nick Pivetta signing was a savvy one. And again, there's nothing you can actually complain about unless you just want to complain, is what I would say. And that doesn't mean they're going to do this all year. I'm just saying right now, there's nothing you can actually complain about related to the Padres. I can complain about their health. I want to see them get healthier.
I can complain about upgrades at certain positions like Jason Hayward or Yuli Gurriel or Connor Joe.
But not yet.
Not yet.
You know what I mean? Like Connor Joe the other night when I did the wrap-up show. People were like, I've seen enough of Connor Joe. I'm like, he's had one plate appearance. You haven't seen enough of anyone. Like, that's not, and people are like, I can't believe they lost this game in this manner. They had so many opportunities to win. I'm like, have you seen baseball? Because there's going to be games you have opportunities to win that you lose.
Yeah.
Because the Cubs had opportunities to win that game too that they faltered on. They eventually came through.
And there'll be games that you're supposed to lose.
That you steal.
And exactly.
And yeah, but they're 15-4. All right. Adrian Garcia Marquez is going to join us on the other side. We'll talk about San Diego FC. They stay on the road. They're going to play Charlotte coming up this weekend. The voice of San Diego FC, Adrian Garcia Marquez. Much more in the Padres coming up later this hour. John and Jim. All right, San Diego FC back in action Saturday. They're going to take on Charlotte FC on the road. You can hear the match live Saturday, 4 p.m. with kickoff at 4:30 right here on San Diego Sports 760. Your home for SDFC. And on cue, we have Adrian Garcia Marquez, the radio voice of SDFC, back with us right now. John and Jim, San Diego Sports 760. Adrian, great to have you back. I know you're looking forward to this upcoming match this weekend, but so far, a handful of weeks, a month or so into the season, what have you been most pleasantly surprised by with this team that's gotten off to such a good start? And thanks for hopping on.
First and foremost, thank you very much for the invite. And can I just go and call you guys Juan and Jaimito? Juanito,
I love
Jaimito.
that.
That's the new name of the
that.
show, actually. Now, thanks for that, Adrian.
Love that.
The cariño, nothing but love and respect. I think that's kind of what Darren and I, with Warren, the whole team, we're very impressed with the discipline, the attitude, the character, the build, everything as advertised. What Tyler Heaps told us they were going to get done roster-wise and why the characteristics to each player, why they were selected, handpicked by him and the staff and Mikey to be here, the whole plan. It's just phenomenal to see how they have really identified how they're going to play, and they are not going to stop playing that style of football for 90-plus minutes. They're constantly on attack. They create opportunities, and I think at the end of the afternoons and night times, whatever the 90 minutes, Mikey wants to see chances created. Mikey has milestone posts for these guys to create opportunities, to constantly be on top of the other side and just create chances. You look at the amount of assists per goal San Diego FC have. I mean, you're talking about 12 assists or so out of the 16 goals. It's just somebody serving the ball up, 5-star servers from somebody. And on set pieces, they've been lethal. All of this was advertised. This was told to us. Tyler Heaps and Mikey Varas told us from the beginning this was the style of play, and that's what I've been most impressed with, the discipline and just the entire unit buying into Mikey Varas' vision and Tyler Heaps' vision for this club, and guys are just lining up and playing San Diego FC style football by the book, and it's brilliant, it's fun, and for us calling the game, it's super exciting.
To start the year, Anders Dreyer, I think, has been one of the most consistent players on this club. Are you surprised with how well, from just match day one up at Galaxy, how he has been on the field for a lot of time here? How impressed are you with him and his play?
I'm very impressed, not surprised. When a guy shows up and says, "Give me the 10," I'll take number 10. It's my favorite number, but there's also a lot of subliminal coding to having the number 10. You have to deliver. You have to be that guy on the field, the one that's constantly looking to create for others, or crack it yourself. I think Anders has been just that. That's why you'll hear it on our broadcast. We call him Anders Fire, because that's what he does. He's the guy that starts the fires. He comes up. Jasper Lawfulson, we can't forget about, him coming up that right flank. Frankie Blackjack, Franco Negri's coming up the left side, doing his thing. Whoever it is on that back line coming forward, Chris McVeigh, obviously Patty McNair, and it just starts from that build, from the back into the midfield with Luca. Luca's playing brilliant, shuttling the ball through the middle of the park. Aníbal Godoy, what he does, and Capitan Terskov. I mean, you can't ask more from your captain, from a player being that guy in the middle of the park, defending things and getting that ball to push forward, intercepting, leading the Major League Soccer in interceptions. So they set the tone for Anders, for Chucky. Chucky individually, we've seen the electricity. That's why he's the DP. And just what we're going to find out, how this all kind of comes together. Again, this is going to be a great matchup against Charlotte to test all of these points again. But I really, really love what Anders has done. I'm not surprised. His talent merits that he wears number 10, and he's delivered.
You mentioned Chucky. We're with Adrian Garcia Marquez, the voice of San Diego FC right here on San Diego Sports 760. What has impressed you the most with Chucky? We know he missed some time due to injury, but when he's been out there, what have you enjoyed most about watching his game?
His teamwork, his sacrifice. He plays for the other guys. He doesn't play for himself. And we know, guys, I mean, they come into this league, DPs do, and they come in, hey, I want green M&Ms only delivered, and I want this, and I want that. None of that from Chucky. Chucky bought in to San Diego FC's philosophy, building the team, the guys that, showed up on the roster. And it's so special, guys, to see a team build this kind of chemistry this quickly and it has to do with the guys that kind of set the tone, Chucky being one of them. If he buys in, the rest buy in, right? And I believe that that's what Chucky has delivered on top of everything else as advertised, the player, the electricity, as we mentioned. He's Chucky. Hi, I'm Chucky. Want to play? Yes. He wants to destroy. He wants to kill. He wants to come after whoever is the defender in front of him. But he's always and constantly thinking about his teammates and sacrificing himself. You see how he goes box to box as well, just going back and forth, defending. He loses the ball. He's the first one to track back and try to intercept it and gain that possession right back for his side. So I really love what Chucky has done. I think Irving is definitely setting the tone for a leader, and we have plenty of those guys on this team, and that's another, I think, a box we can check. There's plenty of leadership. Guys are checking each other, and it's a team. Literally, it's a team. It's not about individuals. This is about team football.
It's going to be a good test this Saturday in Charlotte. Charlotte sitting at in second place in the Eastern Conference, 16 points on the year. What kind of team is Charlotte, and what does San Diego FC need to do this Saturday to kind of end their road losing streak?
You know, it's crazy. You look at the numbers. Their goals created are off of individuals, right? Individual talent. You said Pep Biel, the man that came in from Mallorca, distributes the ball so nicely, creates goals, or he's shown you the ability to pump them in there. Zaha is in there. Ajerman, those three up top. I mean, that trident is dangerous. It's going to be a true test for our back four and CJ Los Santos. And then they also have a great keeper, just like we do. They have a great keeper in Christian Kalina, who's really good at keeping them out, had 6 saves the other day. I mean, we're in for a match, guys. Two of the strongest sides in Major League Soccer facing off against each other in the Queen City. Great vibe, that atmosphere. In those couple of years there, I was doing MLS for Apple TV, guys, and I would always look forward to different venues, right? As it should be. As a broadcaster, there are places you look forward to broadcasting in. And Charlotte, I was curious about, man, and as advertised, what an energy, what an atmosphere. We're in for a treat on Saturday, and I think we're going to have a game that's just going to be two heavyweight fighters going Canelo style, just swinging. No, this is no Mayweather stuff. There's not going to be any of this waiting for your shot and being defensive and boring. No, this is going to be all out attack and see who's standing in the end. And I'm hoping it's our guys. I like what I'm seeing out of Mikey Ibarra's side again. I think they have enough to compete and show everybody that San Diego FC, this is a good start for a reason. And Saturday is going to be a great test because that is a great team on that other side.
A final one for me. Speaking of venues, what has it been like calling Major League Soccer at Snapdragon Stadium?
Oh, a dream come true, guys. Being a kid growing up in San Diego, I remember going to the soccer games there at the Murph, the old Murph before, but still we're still in the same place, right? Technically, it's still the same part of Mission Valley, La Misión del Gol, and we feel it, and I feel it in the atmosphere. It's beautiful to see. Even across the pond, I was observing some bloggers and podcasters were talking about the venues and the true following that is in North America when it comes to clubs, right? Atlanta leading the way with the average attendance and sneaking into this whole entire operation, San Diego FC and the San Diego fans. The finest city has shown up. The electricity at Snapdragon, they turn it into that. That's why you'll hear me say it on the air. When I start calling it the Murph Dragon, because we're starting to breathe fire in that building. And it's just, I just love it. And as a broadcaster, I feed off of that energy and we let it fly as well. I know Darren feels it. Warren feels it. We all feel it. And it's just an electric atmosphere. And I'm not surprised, guys. We waited 30 plus years to get our own MLS team and it's there. And the fans have shown up and they're loud and they're passionate and they've set the example and set the tone for expansion franchises moving forward.
Adrian, we will be listening this weekend. San Diego FC at Charlotte FC. 4:30 is the kick time. Pre-match coverage will begin at 4. And then next weekend, San Diego FC back home against Salt Lake here at Snapdragon.
By the way, can I get in on the Padre talk real quick?
Absolutely.
Yeah, what do you got for us?
What's that?
What do you got for us on the Padres? We're 15 and 4.
I caught a little bit of what you guys were talking about in your opening segment. I mean, what else can you say about the Padres? As a baseball broadcaster and as somebody that I observe these little details as we're kind of paid to do. Fernando Tatis Jr. putting that pressure on himself, saying, I'm the greatest. I'm the best baseball player in MLB right now, knowing that Shohei Ohtani is up the 5 freeway. And I love that he did that. But now you got to back it up. And boy, has he backed it up. I've seen the adjustments, the way that he's attacking the strike zone. You see that his numbers, he's more disciplined. And that's translating. Guys, we are seeing Fernando Tatis Jr. grow and turn into that ball player we all suspected he was going to be. I think the measurements on him were a little bit, I don't want to say harsh, but I mean, just remember, he was still a kid. He was still really young. He's going to make mistakes. But I feel like now we're seeing that transition into that player that we all expected him to become. And get on my back, I will lead the way with as an example with actions. And I love the ABs that he's registered. And I've noticed that leg kick's kind of gone. That front foot, it's a little more quiet. And I think that just might be some of the keys, some of the things that he worked on to make him this ball player coming in. And the Padres are benefiting from it. But it's just fun to watch this team, guys, working their way to the bullpen. That is elite. It's just fun to watch baseball. And hey, only one loss at home. Venga.
Amazing.
Good job.
That's well said, Adrian. That was well said on SDFC.
He can do multiple
on the
things there.
Yeah, absolutely. Adrian, appreciate it. Have a good call this weekend, and we'll do it again soon, all right?
Sounds good, guys. Thanks again for the invite. Vamos. Let's take out Charlotte.
There we go.
Love
Adrian
it.
Garcia Marquez, voice of SDFC. He touched on Tatis. We have an amazing stat for you on the other side on Fernando Tatis Jr., plus an update on Jackson Merrill's health next on John and Jim.
All right, this update is brought to you by Staples Stores. Padres, they have an off day today before they start a 6-game road trip starting tomorrow night in Houston against the Astros. 5:10 first pitch. Kyle Hart will be on the mound for the Padres. And tomorrow night, back to play-in game action in the NBA. Heat take on the Hawks. Winner of that game will be the 8th seed and face the Cleveland Cavaliers in the first round. The Mavericks Grizzlies take on each other tomorrow night at 6:30. Winner of that game will take on the Oklahoma City Thunder. And this update's been brought to you by Staples.
Looking forward to getting out to Riverwalk tomorrow. It's the 2025 Aztec Link Coryell Classic Golf Tournament, which Jim probably would be favored in if he was playing.
I don't know about that, but I definitely will have my clubs on hand.
Okay, you
Just
could get
in case.
I feel like you could get a top 10 finish at the Coryell Classic, potentially.
Well, I need to know who's in it.
Aztec players, some alum supporters, but you're right. I don't know any specific. I don't think like Xander's in it. You know, yeah, you're not going to
Shoffley there.
Xander or like JJ Spawn. Or
I
Justin
feel like
Hastings.
some alum are better at golf than I am because they might have a little more time on their hands to go play golf and get better.
Right.
I don't. So I don't think I would even be close to the best golfer out there. Not even close tomorrow.
Well, tomorrow we will catch up with JD Wicker. We'll be again at this Coryell Classic Golf Tournament, Riverwalk Golf Club tomorrow for this event. JD Wicker, Sean Lewis will join us. We'll talk to Trey White, who was one of the top sack getters a year ago in Division I. So we're looking forward to getting out there. John and Jim live from Riverwalk tomorrow from 2 to 6 p.m. Hopefully we'll see you at the Spring Showcase as well on Saturday out at Snapdragon Stadium. I'll give you an amazing stat that Dennis Lynn wrote about today in The Athletic.
Give it to me.
And I don't know how much you were watching yesterday, but Fernando Tatis Jr., his best at bat was in the 8th inning. He drew this extended, lengthy, bases loaded walk. He took some pitches that were balls that were called strikes, but he hung in there and he eventually drew this walk, which I think shows like the continued development of Fernando Tatis Jr. as a hitter, as a batter. But this is an amazing. This is an amazing stat. Tatis entered this season with a career strikeout rate of 25%, which, as Dennis writes, is acceptable for a power hitter.
Yeah.
This year,
there's nothing crazy.
Right. This year, though, his strikeout rate's all the way down to 11%. Now, this is only in 19 games. He's played 18 of them. But a career strikeout rate of 25, and his strikeout rate right now is all the way down to 11%. That's 12th best among all hitters in Major League Baseball. So Tatis has always been good on field. He's become better with the way he's been. I don't even know if it's patience or just the quality of his at-bats. The power is still there. He's just not striking out like he did when he was a younger player.
How many strikeouts does he have on the season?
It's like 11 or 12. Is it even that many? It might be less than that. 8 or 9, 11 or 12. Someone Google it.
It's what? And I remember last time I looked, it was 9. So it might be, let me pull it up here. So find it. It is, John. It's
0 times.
It's 9 times. He has struck out 9 times this year, and he has drawn 10 walks. That's incredible.
That is incredible, even if it is only 18 games.
And you look at his career, 2021 in 130 games, he struck out 153 times. 2023 in 141 games, he struck out 141 times. Last year in 102 games, he struck out 96 times, only drew 32 walks last season. This year in 18 games, 9 strikeouts, 10 walks. Whatever he's doing, continue to do it. I know Adrian Garcia Marquez talked with us about his leg kick, and you've noticed maybe it's not as high of a leg kick as in years past, but his discipline at the plate to start the season in 18 games, which, by the way, he's reached base safely in all 18 games that he's played, which is a record for Fernando Tatis Jr.
It's a career high?
Career high.
Yep.
It's exactly what you want out of your leadoff man, and it's exactly what is going to propel him potentially into an MVP season.
He used to be gettable, so to speak, when he would fall behind with that low and away breaking pitch. Like he would routinely swing through sliders away, right? Sweepers away, breaking pitches away. He's just now more patient, or he's able to foul those pitches off or be more selective. The 8th inning at bat was a 10-pitch at bat that he probably took 6 balls in, but 2 of them were called strikes, and he fouled a couple of pitches off. It was one of his better at bats of the season. We're not going to remember it like that. Everyone's going to worry about the home runs and the RBIs and the productivity, but he's getting on base at a 425 clip. You talk about a leadoff hitter. This was the knock on a rise. A guy that hits is, if you're going to be a leadoff hitter, you have to have patience. You need to see pitches and you do need to walk. And Tatis has been that guy. He's been able to get on base, not just via base hits, but also via the walk to start the year. And he's not going to probably have a 425 on base percentage this year, but he's proven to me that he's a better hitter than he's been previously in his career right now. And hopefully that continues.
So I'm looking at MVP odds for Fernando Tatis Jr. Can you guess where he is at right now?
I would say in the National League, he is second.
He is not. He's third, which I'm kind of surprised with.
I would say Shohei's ahead of him.
Shohei is number 1 right now. His, according to MGM Grand, it's plus 150 to win the MVP.
Okay. Who is between Shohei and Toddy?
Corbin Carroll.
Yeah, it's not happening. So to me, Tatis is one of 2 favorites then.
Well, Corbin Carroll, if you just look at his numbers, he has, so far to start his year, really good. 321, 6 home runs, 17 RBI, 1,065 OPS.
I trust in Tatis.
I know
more.
Tatis, 348, 6 home runs, 14 RBI, 1,048 OPS, 6 stolen bases. And Ohtani, Ohtani is not there. He's in 288 right now, 6 home runs, only 8 RBI with a 930 OPS. Guys, it is very early.
Yeah, it's so early. And he's going to get if Ohtani just produces, he'll get all benefits of all doubts. Like if he finishes the season with 46 home runs and 41 steals and a 290 batting average.
I really don't want to have that conversation. If at the end of the year, say the Padres, say the magical season ends in the regular season with them winning the division for the first
Padres.
time. Yeah, for the first time in literally forever.
Yep.
I'm going to be scared of the fact that, like you said, if the Padres just, for argument's sake, say they win 98 games, Dodgers win 96.
Right.
And Shohei does still put up numbers. Maybe it's not close to what he did last year, but he still puts up numbers.
Mm-hmm.
I am scared, like, of what you said, of the benefit of the doubt for Ohtani. People will just give him the MVP because it's Shohei Ohtani.
Yeah, he's going to fall into at least another one in his career because of that. I don't know if it's this year, but I guarantee there's a year in there where he's not going to have the gaudy numbers like he had in 2024, and he's still going to win the MVP.
And if Tatis has comparable numbers,
it'll go to Ohtani.
Yeah.
Plays in LA. He's won it before. Tatis has baggage. He plays in San Diego. Okay. This is voted on by human beings, right? This isn't analytical. So, and I think Tatis can absolutely win an MVP award. Mm-hmm. And we might be living through the year in which he wins an MVP award, but he's going to have to be better than Ohtani. He's not going to have to be comparable. Mm-hmm. My guess is he's going to have to be better than Ohtani to win it.
It's got to be like clear cut. Like, now, again, long year for sure. But his start of his season is a huge reason why the Padres are where they're at right now.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I agree.
I think
Machado too, by the way.
Oh,
Machado kind of under the radar from Tatis because I think he's hit 2 home runs.
Right. But he's just been solid. Defensively,
he's been solid.
He's been amazing.
His defense has been awesome.
Dude, his play yesterday in the ninth inning.
Unbelievable play.
Oh my gosh.
With like the shift on, the amount of ground he covered.
Incredible.
Yeah.
He makes it look so easy, and that play is so difficult.
So tough, and he makes it with ease, or he makes it routinely. It's really amazing.
But with Tatis, just real quick, like the way he's played, yeah, that's a huge reason why. But also to be the leadoff hitter for this team, and for Mike Schilt and the coaching staff and the analytic department and AJ Preller, everybody in the organization, to make that call to say, look, we know we have a clear-cut leadoff hitter in Luis Arraez, but I think it's better if Tatis leads off. Credit to whoever came up with that idea first and made it stick, and then for it to be followed through with, and he's now the leadoff man. I mean, it's easy to look at numbers and be like, yeah, he should be the leadoff guy. But they could have done it last year and they didn't.
I know. Well, they should credit us then, because we've been preaching from hilltops about leading off Fernando Tatis Jr. for years. All right, we have an update on the health of Jackson Merrill heading into this series against the Houston Astros. We'll share that with you next, John and Jim. All right, you can download the all-new iHeartRadio app and put San Diego Sports 760 in your presets like I did earlier this week.
Look at you. You're all grown up now, John.
Who wants to join me in downloading the iHeartRadio app and putting San Diego Sports 760 in your presets? You can listen to the show live each and every weekday. Put John and Jim as well in your presets. You can listen back to any hour of the show or any interview on the show. Just download the all-new iHeartRadio app. We had Kevin Acey on yesterday. By we, I mean I did. And Kevin mentioned in there, and I assume he's written about it, although I've read what Kevin's written in the last day or two. I didn't see it. Maybe I just missed it. He did note in our conversation that Jackson Merrill isn't coming off the IL because he's not traveling with the team. So Merrill and Lockridge are staying back. They are rehabbing from hamstring injuries. Merrill's going to miss a lot more than 10 days when it's all said and done. We don't know exactly how long. He may be back when the team returns home for that first game of their next homestand. So 6 more games on the road, Houston and Detroit. But if you thought he was coming off after 10 days, he's not. He's not going to be in Houston. He's not expected to be in Detroit. And hopefully he comes off when the team returns in a week.
Not surprised.
No, either am I, based on our conversations with Kevin last week.
Little surprised because it didn't look like anything too, big as far as like, him having to come out of the game.
Yeah.
He was stretching his hammy in Chicago on third base and he finished that game.
He stole a base after that.
Yeah. So it's like, how bad is his injury?
Right.
And then the other day, first day was the cramp and then IL. And you're like,
no, he wasn't cramp. Crony was cramp.
Oh, Crony was cramping. That's right.
He wasn't cramp.
Sorry, I got my.
His was just a little ouchy,
up.
and then it was IL.
Little ouchie to IL. Not great, but I'm okay if he misses a little more time. If you lose a battle to win a war, absolutely do it.
Especially with the way they're playing.
Oh, if they were not playing like this, then you would be like, oh no, when's Jackson coming back to save the day? But they're 15-4, and without Jackson Merrill, I mean, look, they won 2 against the A's, they won 2 against the Cubbies here, and they swept the Rockies.
So they're 8-1 since he's out. No, 7-2.
Yeah, because they lost against the Cubs and the A's. So 7-2.
He's played 10 games, and they've played 19. So yeah, that's the thing. If you were 2-7, if you were pressing, if your start overall wasn't 15-4 but 4-15, you'd be gravely concerned. That's a worst case. They were never going to be 4-15. But if they were 6-13 right now, and you were without Jackson Merrill, and that was prolonged, and you were without Yu Darvish and Jay Crono, you'd be like, wow. I mean, this is a huge story. I just don't think it is right now. And a couple of people were saying after the loss to the Cubs in 10 innings, man, they wouldn't have lost that game if they had Jackson Merrill. And I said, maybe that's true. Maybe they would have won the game. But how do we know? They were 0-for-7 with men in scoring position. If they had Jackson Merrill, he was guaranteed to come through in the clutch. That's you can't ever simplify any one game down to any one player, unless maybe it's a starting pitcher. But they're 7-2. We just surmised since he's gone out. So they're fine, is the point.
They're more than fine.
So get him healthy.
Exactly. Make sure that he is 100% before he gets back. Maybe not 100%, but like
90%.
Yeah, 90, 95%. Like get him healthy enough where this isn't going to be a nagging injury for the season, because that would be the worst case scenario, is if he returned early,
went back on the IL,
and it turns into a nagging just hammy for the rest of the year. Because those things are brutal if you do not take care of it.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly right. So, and by the way, I kind of had forgotten, like, he was off to a roaring start. It wasn't just the contract. He had homered 3 times in 10 games.
We've been talking about Fernando Tatis Jr. Jackson Merrill was the best offensive player on this team until he went down.
Yes, he was. For the first 10 days of the season, and now it's Tatis.
3 home runs in 10 games.
Yeah.
You okay there?
Yeah, I am. That hurt, though. I hit the mic with my hand.
He was leading the team in RBI, leading the team in home runs. I think he was leading the team in average. He had he has an OPS over 1,000. He's the best offensive player on this team through first 10 games.
Yeah, I mean, they really do have some weapons, man. With Tatis and Machado, even with Merrill out, Tatis and Machado have been awesome. And then you have Luis Ariz. Like, you've got some weapons in your lineup, even when you're without a player of the caliber of Jackson Merrill. Now, am I curious what he looks like when he comes back? A little bit. He's going to miss a couple of weeks, and he's a young player.
But the good thing is you're not solely dependent on Jackson Merrill as you might be on guys like Manny Machado or Fernando Tatis Jr. Jackson Merrill, I think maybe one day, hell, maybe right now, to be honest with you, but one day he's going to be of that caliber where, if he's on the lineup, is a big problem. Now,
Right.
right now, him not in the lineup, they're 7-2 without him. It still sucks because of any player, I might enjoy watching him the most now, even with Fernando Tatis Jr. out there. It's probably a toss-up 1A, 1B. They're both just so fun to watch play baseball.
I'm Toddy.
Okay.
I want 70. That's a great question though. 70470. Start it with team or call us 877-767-4760. If you're watching just one, who'd you rather watch, Tatis or Merrill?
Man,
I'm Toddy, and I have no problem saying it. I love Merrill, but Tatis is one of my favorites of all time.
you're probably right. I mean, Merrill's amazing, but
Merrill's awesome.
Tatis is going to do things that Merrill can't do.
Yeah, I like the swagginess. And man, when he hits a ball, now Merrill has shown the power. He's impressed us with his power. He doesn't hit the ball like Tatis does. Like Tatis, the ball he hit over the warehouse that was listed as like a 200-foot home run, he hit 500 feet.
Crazy comp. And it's actually really not a crazy comp, but because MLB Network and Mark DeRosa did like a breakdown of it the other day. Merrill, his swing is like identical to Freddie Freeman's. Have you ever noticed
That's
that?
a good comp. Yeah, I think you may have mentioned it before. We have, I think, referenced that before.
So thinking about like who would you rather watch if you had to pick one? Tough decision. I want to watch both of them play. But like, Ohtani and Freeman up in LA, everyone would choose Ohtani to watch. But Freddie Freeman, don't sleep on Freddie Freeman. Dude's an MVP winner.
Yeah, well, his stroke is ridiculous. It's a pure swing, right?
He was one regular season MVPs. And oh, by the way, he won the World Series MVP last year. That's how I kind of feel like here in San Diego. Tatis is the attraction. He's like the flashy player. Merrill is just like the consistent, not super flashy, but he can be flashy at times. And he is so fun to watch, but it's like the combination of Merrill and Tatis are kind of similar to Ohtani and Freeman as far as like, just the type of players they are. Ohtani's flashy because he's the MVP. Everyone thinks he's the best player in the sport. Tatis, he's flashy. Merrill and Freeman, they're just so consistent.
Yeah, I do like that. It's kind of like when you have really good running back, like tandems, and someone probably gets more of the headlines than the other, but there's a lot of usage with that like third down back. For me, it's just Tatis, the entirety of his game, just the look, the bat flips, the explosiveness, the power. And again, Merrill has power, but is Merrill ever going to hit 42 home runs in a season? Well, I don't know. He may, but I can. It's a fair question to ask.
Right.
Where Tatis, I don't need to ask that question. I think he's going to do it.
What's he seen?
I think he's going to do it 4+ times. Is my guess.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'd be disappointed if he didn't. He's done it once, and I hope he does it again this year. And he's only 26. So, it's like, what do you like more, like cookies and cream, or? I mean, you like ice cream,
peanut M&Ms.
It's all good.
Yeah,
like you're not kicking cookies and cream out of bed, although you shouldn't be eating in bed.
Cookie dough is also like
the best.
Yeah, you want cookie dough or Oreo cookies.
Yeah,
ice cream.
You'd love to have both on your roster.
I want all of it. Can I get both of them in the same cup?
Yeah, you probably can because it's America, so you can do whatever you want.
Can I get a third one in there as well?
Yeah, with money you can do whatever you want.
Can I get some Rocky Road in there too?
Yeah, that's where Machado comes.
Yeah, Machado's the Rocky Road.
Exactly. All right, so let's hear from Buster Olney on the other side because he talks on both Tatis and Ohtani when it comes to the NL MVP in 2025. We know it's April 17th, but let's hear from Buster Olney on Ohtani and Tatis. We will also turn our attention to the NFL draft, which is a week from tonight. And you're going to hear from Colin Cowherd. Some really interesting thoughts on Shedeur Sanders a week out from round one of the NFL draft. David J. from Mad Friars at 5 p.m. This is John and Jim.
All right, this update is brought to you by Anderson Plumbing, Heating, and Air. Padres, they have an off day today. They still have the best record in baseball at 15-4. They start a 6-game road trip starting tomorrow night in Houston against the Astros. Kyle Hart will be on the mound for the Padres. 5:10 first pitch there in Houston. And the NBA play-in tournament tomorrow night will determine the 8 seeds in the Eastern and Western Conference. First up, Heat will take on the Hawks. Winner of that game will face the Cavs in the first round. And then the nightcap, Mavs and Grizzlies. Winner of that game will take on the OKC Thunder. Rebate funds are running out fast. Don't get left behind. At Anderson Plumbing, they're buying back your old water heater and giving you $500 in instant savings. Call Anderson PHA today.
Getting you all set for that drive home. Let's just start the show. Here's John and Jim.
All right, San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? This is hour 2. John and Jim, we are here until 6 p.m. David J. from Mad Friars on the Padres 15-4 start, and on the system will join us at 5 p.m.
Which, by the way, our conversation will be much more interesting with David than John Conniff's with Darnay Tripp today.
Wow, you went there.
Just saying. Well,
I know this Darnay's not listening.
Shots fired.
Because he's doing a YouTube or whatever.
He doesn't
right
listen
now.
anymore to us.
He doesn't listen. I know Annie listens, and that's why Annie's become.
Nor I think
I was saying yesterday you could be the number 1 friend of the show
if I listened.
Well, yesterday I'm like, Jim's a friend of the show now that he's.
Oh yeah. I did listen yesterday for.
We appreciate that.
Some of the show, but I was preoccupied. That. But yeah, Darnay, buddy, my guy. You might be in the doghouse here.
Well, he was on with Fletch Zone today.
Yes.
He's
not listening to our show.
Not listening to our show. He's doing shows during our show half the time. So listen to David J. with Mad Friars coming up at 5 p.m.
Yeah, you hear that? John Conniff and Darnay?
They don't, because they don't hear it.
Because they're literally talking right now, I think, actually.
All right, so Buster Olney, okay, with ESPN, potentially in his final year with ESPN covering Major League Baseball, because this might be their final year covering Major League Baseball, but whatever. Here is Buster Olney on the biggest threat to win the MVP in the National League to Shohei Ohtani. Take a listen, we'll react.
Fernando Tatis Jr. is off to a tremendous start. And I spoke with Mike Schilt, his manager, yesterday, and I mentioned to him the walk and strikeout numbers. And as you said, it's a small sample size, but I said, man, to see the progression, because you're talking about a guy whose strikeout to walk ratio is typically about 2.5 to 1. Now it's 1 to 1 this year. Like, it's tremendous improvement. And he said, absolutely, he's more patient. And he talked about what an intelligent player Fernando Tatis Jr. is. And, I mentioned to him after he got done describing all the things that Tatis Jr. does, I said, it's like you're talking about LeBron, like this great physical specimen. Yes, we all know that if you watch the game, but also someone who has an understanding of the game. What are you seeing?
Well, I see someone who obviously has a keen understanding of what makes him good and what could make him great. And that is demonstrated, Buster, with one perhaps minor swing change that he's made year over year that is paying major dividends. He's eschewed that sort of high leg kick for that toe tap. He seems a lot more in control of his faculties right now, and the numbers are absolutely popping off the page as a result. His career strikeout rate entering this season was 25. His strikeout rate last season was 22. And right now he's only striking out 12% of the time. It's only 17 games, but that's in the Juan Soto range, the Kyle Tucker range, the Jose Ramirez range. That is an elite number. Buster, his OPS in 2 strike counts is 1019. That's a number for which his career high is 628. He is no longer remotely an easy out when he gets to 2 strikes. And this is a player who, as you well know, has just off the charts contact quality. Buster, I exported every single Major League Baseball player with at least 2,000 plate appearances since 1900. What I did was, what is your batting average if we just exclude strikeouts? So when you put the ball in play, how good are you? How potent is your contact? Fernando Tatis's is 388, which ranks in the top 15 of the last 125 years. He hits the daylights out of the ball. And if he's going to strike out, we'll call it 15% of the time, I don't think there's a player in the National League better equipped to challenge Ohtani for the MVP than Fernando Tatis Jr.
That's what we touched on in the 2:00 hour, and that's what the Vegas odds would suggest. That Tatis is going to be the biggest threat to Shohei Ohtani, and I have no idea how it's going to play out. But whatever Tatis has done, is it the leg kick? Is it just the fact that he's more comfortable in his 7th season, just overall? Tatis has a chance, I think, with health to be in the conversation. I'd be surprised if he wasn't. If the season ends and Tatis stays healthy all year, I would personally be very surprised if he didn't finish in the top 2 or 3 of the MVP race.
You asked like, what is it this year? And you mentioned it. I think the biggest is health.
Yeah, the biggest is health.
Like, right?
Yes.
He's never gone through a full year fully healthy before. 2021 was his best statistical season in his career, but he only played 130 games.
Right.
Like, imagine if he didn't have all those trips to the IL because of the subluxation to his shoulder. Dude still had 42 home runs. He could have had 52 home runs if he was healthy and he played 150 games.
Right.
I just, knock on wood every day that we can see Tatis healthy for a full year. That's just we haven't seen it yet. And, if this team is going to continue to play at a high level throughout the rest of the year, to add and put on a healthy Fernando Tatis Jr. on that team. I mean, Tatis can have healthy years, but the team still wins 75 games. And he still could put up big numbers. Example, Mike Trout. Mike Trout's won a bunch of MVPs on horrible Angels teams.
Right.
But if you had a Mike Trout MVP season on an Angel team that was like a World Series contender, that's a dream scenario. You want Fernando Tatis Jr. having an MVP season on a World Series contending team.
That's the one thing that Ohtani's going to get the benefit for the rest of his career. He's always going to be on good teams. He's not going to be on a 75-win team. Here's the other thing to consider. And I'm not saying that Tatis, who's never hit 50 home runs in a season and has never stolen 30 bases in a season, is some legitimate threat to be like a 50-50 guy.
Right.
Like Ohtani did. But consider this. Ohtani before last year had never stolen 30 bases in a season. And he stole 50. Tatis has never stolen 30 bases in a season. And again, I'm not saying he can reach 50 in a year. I think there's some health and particulars in there that will keep him from probably touching that type of threshold. But he's absolutely capable of stealing 30-something bases. Easy. He should fall out of bed there with health. If he plays the full season, he should steal 30-something bases because he's going to be on base a ton, and he's a leadoff hitter. And he's capable. The one thing I will say, well, I can't say he could steal 50 bases in a season because that's not fair. He's only stolen 29. He can hit 50 home runs in a season. I know it because, to your point, he hit 42 in 130 games. So that is possible. Again, not easy or a guarantee, but that at least is possible for Fernando Tatis Jr., like the Ohtani power. He has the power. I think he has the speed. I just don't know if it'll be limited because of his health or if he'll ever touch 50 steals in the season. But again, I mean, I'm not saying he's Ohtani, but I'm saying he's pretty damn good.
No one's saying he's Ohtani, but he is one of the best players in baseball when healthy.
Absolutely.
That's kind of without question, and you see it right now. One thing that I just thought of, so, Fernando Tatis Jr., the start of this season has been incredible.
Right.
But it didn't just start this year. I feel like it started at the end of last year when he got back from his injury. So last year, John, when he got back, this is what he did in September.
Okay.
All right. So hold on, let me pull this up here. All right. So in September, he had 7 home runs, 13 RBI, not a crazy high average, but he did slug 578. And then you get into the postseason and he just shot off like a rocket ship.
Yep.
And I feel like the end of last year, the power started to go up a little more. Now, I don't think he was fully healthy yet, but he had 7 home runs in September. He had 4, I think, in the postseason.
I think that's right.
4 in the
I could find
postseason.
out, but yeah.
So 13 home runs there in about 30 games.
Yeah. That just proves that he has 50 home run power.
And it has carried over into the start of this year with 6 home runs. Guy's got 20 home runs in his last almost 40 games.
He has nobody could question his power. He's got 6 home runs in 13 career playoff games, which is unheard of in baseball history. That's unheard of. So you can't question his power. I think it's an interesting conversation, honestly. Not to have it on April 17th, like, is it Tatis, is it Ohtani to win the MVP? I just think the interesting conversation is Ohtani gets all this acclaim, rightfully so. He's earned his acclaim. He's produced both Anaheim and Los Angeles, and now he's got a ring to go with it. So he's earned it. I think that's fair. But like the conversation you had earlier, like Freeman is going to be in the shadow of an Ohtani now. Makes sense. Maybe a Merrill's in the shadow of Tatis because of the swag and the power and the explosiveness. But let's say Tatis is in the shadow of Ohtani nationally. But that's not necessarily a bad shadow to be in. And when you're in that conversation and category, there's probably years where you could outperform that player.
Because, and it's just, I know it's a what if scenario, but what if Tatis never got suspended for PEDs? He, at that time, pre-PEDs suspension, dude was everywhere. He was getting marketed like the face of baseball. Do you remember that?
Yeah, now he's nowhere.
Exactly.
He's on Instagram. I mean, he's extremely popular on Instagram. He's extremely popular on social media, but nationally he's not.
He was the face of Adidas for baseball. He
had a Gatorade ad.
First active player to have a Gatorade ad since Jeter in baseball. I mean, I live next to a 7-Eleven and I would go in there and there were three cutouts of Tatis in that 7-Eleven pre, PED suspension. He was on the cover of MLB The Show. He was getting nationally endorsed. I mean, it was during the playoffs in 2021 where every other commercial was Fernando Tatis Jr. Remember that?
I do, but I that's unfortunately now a different lifetime.
Remember the 3-0 swing? They turned it into a commercial.
Yeah, of course. That was 2020. But that's a lifetime ago for Tatis. The one thing with baseball is it's a scarlet letter.
It is.
Like in other sports, you can overcome things. Like, does anyone care about Tom Brady and Deflategate? No. But in baseball, it's like you get suspended once for PEDs and you have changed everything. Now, I think it's a little different today. I don't think it's some like national storyline really anymore with Fernando Tatis Jr. I just feel like nationally they kind of want him to go away sometimes. And he doesn't get near the hype he got as a younger player, even though he's a better player now than maybe he's ever been. But post PEDs, and again, I think it's something to consider when you think about Ohtani. Ohtani hasn't dealt with that. He's dealt with scandal. The situation that played out last year with his translator was a massive scandal.
Well,
but he dodged that scandal, and Tatis didn't dodge a suspension for PEDs. And it's that's again, I think if Ohtani and Tatis have similar numbers, who gets the benefit of the doubt? It's not even a question.
It's Ohtani.
Yep.
And in baseball, there is nothing that is more damning to a player's career than PED suspension.
Nothing. They'll talk about it for 50 years.
Mm-hmm.
It makes no sense.
Right.
But I'm telling you, Fernando Tatis Jr., it's part of the story for forever, whether we like it to be or not. I personally don't care right now. I just want to see him go hit 45 home runs and lead this team to a World Series.
This team's winning. Tatis is playing amazing. Yeah. They're the best team in baseball. They're 15-4. They are absolutely rolling right now. They're literally unbeatable at home almost.
And here's the other thing. He doesn't care. That's the beauty. Yep. How do I know? Because watch him play.
Yep.
All of that is behind him.
It is.
There was a period in time where it wasn't. Now it's completely behind him. We can't control the general public, the opinion of voters. But all of that right now, thankfully, is behind Fernando Tatis Jr. All right, David J. Matt Friars will join us at 5. We do have a 4-pack of tickets to Sesame Place to give away here today. And on the other side, we'll switch gears. You'll hear from Colin Cowherd today on The Herd on Shedeur Sanders. Will a team regret not taking him towards the top of the draft, which gets underway next Thursday night in Green Bay, Wisconsin? This is John and Jim. right, John and Jim, San Diego Sports 760. David J. from Mad Friars will join us at 5 p.m. We'll give away Sesame Place tickets coming up in the 4 o'clock hour. Jim, what are you doing? So we have a YouTube stream of John and Jim. If you haven't checked it out, we've added and upgraded like our graphics, and we thank our buddy Jeff who hooked us up with that. And Jim does a great job like with the logistics of our YouTube channel. Just go to YouTube if you have a phone or
John and Jim on YouTube.
Yeah, John and Jim 760, JON, ANDJIM. But every once in a while it goes a little haywire, and for whatever reason, like Jim's head was off the camera.
Yeah, well, the camera,
camera?
Like the stand that the camera's on was wobbly, and it turned the camera, and so my face was literally not on the screen. Sorry.
That's
about that.
great, Jim.
Sorry.
Even though I asked.
Not everything's perfect, John.
It should be. Everything should.
I'm actually.
We work in radio. Everything should be perfect.
I'm going to applaud you because
I did the perfect flawless show yesterday.
When I am gone,
you think everything's gonna.
It's it's a lot up in the air. Like on the air, when turn the mic on, John's got it covered.
Right.
No worries, whatever. But everything else that goes into the show, like,
dude, how about this? I got the stream on YouTube.
Wow.
I made sure you could hear the audio. I was never muted any segment. In fact, I had to remind Brent, like, hey, unmute yourself, because he was recording updates.
Oh, wow.
So I reminded him every single segment. We didn't have any snafu, right, Brent?
Yeah, we actually did really well yesterday.
We did
I was proud of us.
really well. I was told from our bosses is the highest rated sports show in American history was yesterday.
So you don't need me anymore is what you're saying?
Any city, anywhere in the world, any day. There's never been more.
I wonder what the coincidence there is.
Normally when you're gone, we will at least mute one segment for the entire segment. Yeah. Not yesterday.
Everything worked. You saw I tweeted like the start of the show.
I was shocked that tweet actually went out there.
I know. And I was like, you know me, I was so like flustered because so anyway, it all worked.
I tuned in when you had Latrell Davis on.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, I was like, should I help them out here? Not help them out. You guys did great. I'm just saying, like, should I put like a graphic on the screen?
I would have been shocked if that happened.
Because I know you would like to use that for your Aztec channel. If you did, or
I haven't done. I didn't post it.
Okay. Well, anyway, or post it on our channel.
No.
The interview. Oh yeah, no. But then I realized, because if I was to go on the StreamYard on my phone, it would have automatically put me into the stream. So I would have been like on my couch with like my triple chin, like
I would have
on the screen, and it'd be like, oh man.
By the way, Jeff, who did some of our graphics here recently for YouTube, said we could just have the show rebranded as John. Like as opposed to John and Jim, just John.
That's it, John.
Welcome back to John here on San Diego Sports.
That'd be
760.
That'd be an interesting show name.
It would. But just kidding. It's great to have you back.
Yeah.
And you make things a lot easier because you know how to do things that I don't know how to do.
Right. Well, you drive the ship. I do all the technical stuff.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, we make a team, I guess.
Yeah, it's a team.
It's a team.
Right?
It's a team effort. Yeah.
All right. Can we hear from Colin, Brent? This is Colin Cowherd today on the Herd. You can hear it on San Diego Sports 760 weekdays from 9 to noon. Is that right?
Yes, John.
Okay, weekdays from 9 to noon. I got confused about maybe it's 6 to 9, but that's Dan Patrick.
Correct.
This is interesting. Is a team going to regret not taking Shedeur Sanders? Listen.
There's an old saying, don't outthink the room. And maybe it's a guy thing, but sometimes, I'm trying to be smart and I'm breaking something down and I've got a big decision in my life. And I've had smarter people than me say, maybe it's an agent, maybe it's a boss or something. Somebody says, I wouldn't outthink the room on this. And so, I'm hearing all these stories about Shedeur Sanders, Deion's son, dropping in the draft. So, let's say that happens and he becomes really good. I want you to think about a few things. Are we overthinking the room? So number one, he's the son of a legend. That's worked a few times. He was not only accurate with an atrocious O-line, he is the most accurate college quarterback ever. Major conference, 74%. He actually played very well, unlike Jackson Dart, against the best teams. He didn't have to win. He played well. He carried a bad O-line and no run game to 33 points a game. So if you don't draft him in your Cleveland or the Giants or maybe even the Jets, are you going to look up and go, Yeah. Yeah, we probably outthought the room. Like, I always understood passing on Josh Allen, who's amazing. He didn't get any college scholarships. He went to a JUCO. He was crazy wild. Greg Cosell told me going into his last year of college, he goes, keep your eye on this kid. So I watched them against Oregon and Iowa. He was a turnover machine. He was inaccurate. He was wild. Played small college football. Like I get people going, yeah, I like him, but we want to win now. And he's like 3 years away. I don't know. I look at Shedeur Sanders. He checks a lot of boxes. And this whole thing about, well, he doesn't have any great traits. Okay, I want you to think about this. This is out thinking the room. How many great quarterbacks are there in the NFL? Like Lamar's great, Mahomes great, Burrow great, Allen great. Now I would say Matt Stafford, Jalen Hurts, there's CJ Stroud. There's some really good guys. And Stafford may be great. Aaron was years ago. So there's 5 or 6 great quarterbacks. 14 teams make the playoffs, meaning good or very good quarterbacks get you to the playoffs. And in the NFL, what you're trying to avoid is what the Colts have going, which is, yeah, this is not working at all at quarterback. That because the Colts have the GM, they got the coach, they got a good roster. Yeah, this isn't working at all. I got 50 college games, 74% completion percentage, bad O-line, 33 a game. You keep telling me he's not mobile. I keep watching the film. He's mobile.
Whatever teams pass on Shedeur Sanders, potentially it's going to be a big whiff. And I'm talking about the Giants, the Browns, maybe the Titans. But the
Giants and Browns are the good examples.
Yeah, but the Titans, they're going to get a quarterback. They're going to
take Cam Ward.
They're probably going to take Cam Ward. It's crazy how Cam Ward to the Titans felt like that was already done like months ago.
Absolutely.
Like what?
Yep.
Like they didn't even go through they still need to go through a draft process and talk to these guys and watch film more. But like, okay, sure, Cam Ward to the Titans, go ahead.
You know what I want to ask about this, by the way, and we could do it tomorrow with Sean Lewis, who was the offensive coordinator for Shedeur his first year at Colorado. So just to get his thoughts on like his NFL potential, right? He's already coached him as a college player. He saw firsthand. I mean, their offense is really good 2 years ago. Their offense was really good last year. I mean, he's checked the box of really good college quarterback. He's done it. What does his projection look like? How does he project to the next level? Sean Lewis is calling plays for him for a year.
That's a good call, yeah.
So we'll talk to Sean Lewis about that tomorrow. We'll be out at their golf event at Riverwalk and broadcasting live from 2 to 6. All right. We'll switch gears, get back to the Padres who are off today. We'll look ahead to this road trip. What's acceptable on the road for the Padres other than going 6-0? They're heading for Houston and Detroit coming up in the 4 o'clock hour. A chance to win Sesame Place tickets. If you missed our conversation with Adrian Garcia Marquez, we'll have that for you in the 4 o'clock hour as well. David J at 5 p.m. And you're not going to want to miss Jim's back page in like 4 hours later in the show as well. Stay with us, John and Jim.
This update's brought to you by Anderson Plumbing, Heating, and Air. Padres, they have an off day today. They start a 6-game road trip starting in Houston tomorrow night against the Astros, where Kyle Hart will be on the mound. 5:10 first pitch there. And the NBA play-in tournament gets back underway tomorrow night. 2 games, both for shots at the 8 seed in the Eastern and Western Conference. Heat and Hawks will tip off at 4. Then Mavs and Grizzlies at 6:30. Winners of those games will take on the Cavs and the Thunder. Rebate funds are running out fast. Don't get left behind. At Anderson Plumbing, they're buying back your old water heater and giving you $500 in instant savings. Call Anderson PHA today.
All right, John and Jim, San Diego Sports 760. David J. from Mad Friars on the Padres at 5 p.m. Adrian Garcia Marquez, voice of SDFC, if you missed it, at 4:30, plus a chance to win Sesame Place tickets in the 4 o'clock hour. It's weird when you look at baseball standings, Jim, as the Padres are going to Houston and Detroit, and the Astros right now, and we know it's early, are in last place in the ALS, like actually last, alone. Now, they're not awful, but they're not great. They're 8-10 right now. They're only 4-5 in Houston at home this year. Then Detroit's been better. They're 10-8 overall. They're 5-1 at home. So that's what's coming up for the Padres. 3 in Houston against that veteran team that's done a lot of winning in the American League over the last decade. And then the upstart Tigers, who were in the postseason last year, again, have gotten off to a good enough start at 10-8 overall. So now we play the what are you signing up for game, because they're 15-4, which means you go 3-3. You're getting home 18-7. Sounds nice.
I want 7 to know.
But they're only playing 6 games.
I don't care.
You want 7 wins over the next 6?
Yes.
I think it's 6 games. Is it 6 or 7?
It's 6 in Houston, 6 in Detroit.
Oh, 6 in Houston. Wow. First 6-game series. That's awesome. It's going to be amazing.
I meant to say it's 3 in Houston, 3 in Detroit, which is a 6-game road trip.
All right. 6 games. Are you taking?
Sometimes I just say things. I don't even know what I'm saying.
Are you taking 3 road wins?
Sure.
You're taking them.
I mean, yeah. The whole adage is you go 500 on the road
and win every home game.
And then the Padres right now are going to have a 99% win percentage at home.
Right, go 78-3 at home.
Yeah, then that's a really good win percentage right there. It's 115 wins, 120 wins. I look at their only road trip of the year, and there were times where they did not look like the team they look like at home. The pitching was not good on the road. The pitching has been phenomenal at home, but they've only had 1 road trip.
Right.
And that was in Chicago, where they didn't get blown out in those games. But then you get to Sacramento, and that's a wonky stadium anyway. So do you even really count what happened in Sacramento? You just kind of take 2 or 3 and move on.
Yeah, basically.
So I am interested to see what they do on this road trip for sure. Like the first like real road trip of the year, not going to a minor league park in Sacramento. I know it's on the road technically, but
it's like fake.
Yeah, it doesn't it's
like neutral.
Yeah, you're not playing in a major league ballpark. You're playing in a weird environment in Sacramento, and you're just like, what is this? Going to the bullpens, or literally on, fans are like in the bullpens basically on top of the grass, and then the clubhouses are in center field.
Yeah, I would say I'm with you. I mean, I think that this is a legitimate trip. Like Houston historically, like that's not easy.
No.
And then Detroit has been good. You get home and they've been amazing at home. But yeah, I'm curious to see like all of this. And I see like in the chat, I see on social media, and I see it on our text line 70470 started with the word team. But who have they played? Oh, they've had a mild schedule. I'm like, yeah, I don't know. I mean, that's not a big talking point for me. I know they'll play. I made this point yesterday. I'm like, they'll play the Dodgers and the Giants and the Diamondbacks. And guess what? The Dodgers will play the Padres, the Giants, and the Diamondbacks. So I get it. But I haven't seen the Dodgers playing the Padres, just like the Padres haven't played the Dodgers. So, okay, fair. They haven't played all 162 of their games. But again, this isn't college football where you load it up with 3 FCS opponents before playing in the SEC. You haven't done that. You're playing Major League Baseball games. You're winning those games.
The who have they beaten crowd?
There's a lot of those people out there.
that does not apply to this start anymore. It just doesn't.
I agree.
They started with the Rockies and the Marlins, their first 7 games of the year or 12 games of the year, right? Like a 3-game series with the Rockies, 4-game with Marlins, and then 3-game with the Rockies again. Then okay, yeah, but they didn't. They played playoff teams from last year, and so if anybody out there is still, well, they haven't beaten anybody. Look at their schedule. Stop. 15-4 is 15-4.
Mm-hmm.
That is a good chunk to look at a team and kind of say which direction they're going, and what they've looked like so far is a top team in the sport. You can't be watching every single one of these games and think otherwise. I'm sorry, you just can't. So, they're going to get tested on Sunday. Framber Valdez, Sunday Night Baseball, by the way.
Great.
On Sunday in Houston.
Yeah.
Dylan Cease versus him.
That's a great.
And Rich in the chat mentioned, and I haven't looked, but he said that Tariq Skubal pitches on Sunday, so the Padres will miss him in Detroit. But old friend Jack Flaherty, not really old friend, but enemy number one last year in the postseason. Jack Flaherty back on the Tigers. Looks like they're going to see him in Detroit. That's going to be a fun matchup to relive what happened last year. The sinister sling from Manny Machado.
Will Ken Rosenthal be there for this?
That's a good question. My guess is no.
Probably not.
Yeah, he's scared of the Padres.
Probably true.
Yeah.
I don't think, I will say this. Well, I don't think it's too early to say, like, just give them credit for being 15-4. I do think it's too early to be like, well, there's just a 500 team on the road, because, well, yeah, it is too early to say that. They've only played 2 series. Trip. Yeah. So, and I've made this point, and you've heard me make, and you've made the same. If they are a 500 team on the road, it could work out beautifully if they prove to be one of baseball's best home teams, which is at least possible based on their 12-1 start. We've done the math on it. If they're one of baseball's best home teams, 500 is more than enough on the road. And we don't even know if that's who they are on the road as of yet.
We don't know at all. We have no clue. I feel like Chicago, that road, the first road trip of the year, I mean, you're going up against a team on their opening day.
Yeah, it was their home opener.
Shota Imanaga is really good.
Temperature, it's cold.
It's like
we're making
35 degrees.
But yeah, I think those are real excuses.
You can't take anything from their first road trip, other than actually they had some injuries that are the most concerning part.
Right.
Like the Dylan C start in Sacramento. I think that's kind of just like an outlier, honestly. Pitched much better in his last game. So yeah, I think you have to wait. If they were, 13 games in and they're 5-7 on the road, okay, maybe they'd be like, well, they're gonna have little problems on the road this year. You can ask those questions. I don't think you can say definitively that they're not gonna be a good road team, but you can ask, like, are they gonna have troubles on the road this year or not? But at home now, you're 12-1. You're like, okay, home field advantage. Definitely there at Petco. The fans, amazing. And at Petco Park, they feel like they can win every single game so far.
And here's I don't think it's a funny thing, but over the last couple of years, the Padres have been a very good road team. And that includes last year under Mike Schilt. In fact, we mentioned this maybe this week, that they were better on the road last year than they were at home, even with that environment of 3.2 million fans. They actually wanted a higher clip on the road than they did at home. Obviously, they're not going to start 12-1 on the road. I mean, they're already 3-3. But I don't think home road is overly impactful in baseball. You know what I mean? Like, I think you can play in front of a good home environment like Petco Park. There's been years where the Padres are a 500 team at home or just above it, despite the atmosphere, and they've been good on the road some years. Does home road really matter that much? Is it like a huge indicator like it would be in a college football game? LSU at home wins 90% of the time. Ohio State at home wins 95% of the time. I don't know. I'd rather have Framber Valdez or Dylan Cease, regardless of location, than have home field, for example.
Well, I would much rather have them have confidence on the road than have the feeling of they're just average.
Yeah.
Because it helps going into a postseason. Being a good team on the road, you're going to be going to some crazy environments potentially. And you're going to have, like last year's team on the road, they were really good.
They were, yeah.
It took them a while to become a good home team. And I think it paid off in the postseason. Now, it was a short postseason, but
would they play 2 road games? No,
played
three. They played three.
They played 3.
And they were only 1 and 2, actually.
And then the 24 scoreless innings, we obviously know there. But
what happened?
But look, they had great pitching in game 5. They just couldn't score.
Yeah, right, exactly.
So
yeah.
I think it's obviously too early to even talk about, they're an average road team. Like, stop.
No, it's way too early for that.
Way too early. But I think if they can create an identity on the road, which they did last year, and they can be, I'm not gonna say as good as last year's team on the road, but if they can be comparable, and if they're playing like this at home, dude,
they could pile up some wins.
Oh yeah,
they could pile up some wins. It's not too early for updated MLB power rankings. Do the Padres top the list with their 15-4 record overall or not? We have an update from ESPN. We have Sesame Place tickets to give away in the 4:00 hour. If you missed Adrian Garcia Marquez, voice of SDFC on San Diego Sports 760, you'll hear it at 4:30. And David J. from Matt Friars will join the show coming up at 5 p.m. to talk more about the Padres. But what do the updated power rankings have to say about the Padres, Jim? I know you're curious.
Oh, power rankings.
I'll share them with you on the other side. They've just been updated.
Oh my goodness.
Are the Padres atop the power rankings? Do not leave your
dial
driveway.
Yeah.
Stay with us, John and Jim. San Diego Sports 760 has 13 chances to win $1,000 every weekday with the Bonus Bucks giveaway. That's every hour, 6 a.m. through 6 p.m., which includes the next couple of hours here on John and Jim. Listen for the keyword, then enter it at sportssd.com. Your chance to win $1,000. We could all use an extra $1,000
after tax day,
Yeah.
for sure.
Dude, I'll use it any day. I don't care what time of year.
Any day you want to give me $1,000, I'll
I'm
take
on
it.
board.
Yeah.
Updated power rankings today from ESPN.com.
There are some people, I won't name names,
I'm listening.
legitimately take these
This
power
seriously.
rankings seriously.
And yes, we reference them every time they're updated, but that's because the Padres are towards the top of the list. But it's kind of a running joke.
It's a running bit on this show.
It is a bit. But for the first time this year,
Oh my gosh.
the San Diego Padres are atop the MLB power rankings at ESPN.
Oh my God.
Put the banner up on the Western Metal Building.
When's the parade?
Hopefully in November. But it's not going to be right now.
Can we hang up at Petco, like, over by the San Diego Sports Hall of Fame plaques?
Next to Nick.
Next
Hardwick.
to Hardwick.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love that idea.
We can have a little flag that says
Next to the future John and Jim plaque.
exactly April 17th, top of the power ranking champion.
Not just the top, Jim. They moved from number 3 to number 1. So they went up
I
2
need
spots.
to know what it says.
Here's what it says. Padres, and this is updated today. So it says they're 15-4. San Diego finally lost at home this week, but the Padres' advantage at Petco Park shouldn't be overlooked. It's become a more raucous environment than ever, a destination for fans who want to see a pitching staff that so far has compiled the lowest home ERA in the game, and a lineup that ranks 8th in home OPS. Fernando Tatis Jr. in particular must like the sightlines there this year. He has an OPS over 1,100 at Petco. San Diego has established a home environment all smaller market teams should strive for, and the Padres are winning plenty to keep fans coming back for more. I hate when they put him in the small, man, it's a good draw for a small market team.
Shut up.
I know, enough of that.
Do you want to read off every paragraph of every
Yes.
team?
Okay.
Top power.
Here, I'll random number 24, Minnesota.
Okay. No,
what is
please,
happening
please
in
don't,
Minnesota
please.
is the worst case
No.
scenario.
No, did it really say that?
Yeah. The
Okay.
A's is like a sentence, dude.
Well, it should be. You know who should have less than a sentence? Like 2
White
words.
Sox.
Is the Rockies
You're right.
and the White Sox.
Yeah, you're right.
Battle
Anyway,
for last place in the power rankings.
You know who's number 2?
The Doyers,
Correct. You know who's number 3?
Giants.
Mets.
Huh?
You know who's number 4? The Giants.
Giants.
But here's my point. 5 Phillies, 6 Cubs. My point is the top 6 teams, according to ESPN, are all in the National League. The reason I bring up the point is that we'll see if it holds true or not. But if that's the case, then first of all, you're facing a lot of these teams more often than American League teams, right? Either out of division, home and home, or in division 12 times. And then secondly, getting out of the National League this year may be harder than the American League. We'll see if that plays out or not. But they're saying the top 6 teams in baseball right now all reside in the NL.
Yeah, it is definitely too early
yeah.
to say what I'm about to say. But, it just feels like if this trend continues, hard to envision someone in the American League beating one of these top teams.
Beating the NL champ. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Like, okay, you're saying like the team that gets out of the National League will be so battle tested
Mhm.
that they'll be a sizable favorite. in the
I
World
think
Series
so.
this year.
Kind of how it was last year.
Yeah, and that played true.
Yeah.
It was
Now,
a decisive. Yeah, Dodgers 1-5.
the Dodgers taking down the Padres, but taking on a really hot Mets team as well. I just think and even Arizona, by the way, Arizona's 13-5, I think.
11-7.
Not even close, Jim.
But that's good. I mean, 11-7 is good.
To start
Yeah,
your season,
it's
take
really
11-7 most years.
Yeah,
The National League feels like the upper class.
it does.
And when we had talked about how many teams will be in it this year, there was 7 for 6 spots. Now the Braves were one of them, and they are right now, I think, in last place currently still in the AL East. But you just replace the Braves with the Giants, Mets, Phillies,
D-backs.
D-backs,
Padres, Dodgers.
Padres, Dodgers,
How many did we just?
Cubs.
There's 7, right?
There's 7.
Yeah, and there's only going to be 6 in.
Right.
To your point. Yep.
And the Cubs are going to probably win their division if they
They
don't
could. Yep.
have any major injuries.
Right.
So you're dealing with, 5 teams there for 4 spots. You can be in as a wild card or you win the division. But yeah, it's going to be a dogfight. And the National League, I feel like, is a step up from the American League, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's like what we've said in the NBA a lot over the last 2 decades is that the Western Conference is the premier conference, right? We've said that a lot. They don't win every NBA Finals.
Celtics won last year.
Yeah, Boston last year. And there's other examples, obviously, of teams in the East,
Bucks.
like Cleveland, or Cleveland with LeBron in the last 20 years,
Right.
even when the West has maybe been the deeper of the conferences. I would argue probably the better team is winning more often in the NBA playoffs than in the Major League Baseball playoffs, right? Like NBA playoffs, really good teams win a lot in the postseason. They're not upset a lot. Really good teams. Teams are upset in Major League Baseball playoffs, but I would agree. And yes, it's 20 games in for most teams, but I would agree that there's a good shot the National League is going to be heavily favored or favored at least in a World Series, just based on what we know, that there's 5 or 6 really, really good teams in the NL. And I'm sure there'll be really good teams in the American League too. They'll emerge, whether it's the Yankees or I don't know, whomever else.
Yeah.
I mean, Detroit right now is listed like one of the better teams in the American League. They're 10-8.
Right. I didn't, and in the National League, I thought the Giants could be like this annoying, pesky, kind of gritty team that could maybe win like 84, 85 games. They would just give you problems.
Right.
Their start, I was reading something today. The Giants have the toughest strength of schedule so far through the first 18 games of their season. And they are proving right now that they're one of the better teams in baseball early on. And they're doing it a little differently than most. They played a lot of road games this year than home games. I think they played like maybe 4 home games this whole
the whole
season,
year.
The whole year.
Yeah, I guess my question with all of these teams outside of LA is how do you deal with adversity, including San Diego?
Yeah.
Because when things are good, it's good,
it's
man.
coming.
It's good. And by the way, if the Dodgers deal with adversity, they'll be fine. I'm not going to sit here and be like, not making the playoffs because they lost 3 straight in some random series.
Right.
But when San Francisco is swept at home by someone, or if San Diego, has a 1-5 trip, hopefully we don't see it. Again, most teams are going to have a 1-5 trip or get swept at home in a series. What's the response look like? I thought the Padres responded well last year. They had some bad moments in the first half of the year. The 5-game losing streaks, swept at home by Colorado last year. Yeah. I mean, that's unacceptable. Yeah. But the way they rebounded and what they proved to us in the second half was they could deal with it. They didn't deal with it well, obviously, in 2023. So I trust in the Padres' ability to deal with adversity, but I am curious about San Francisco and Arizona and San Diego, truthfully, because they're not playing 15-4 at this clip. I mean, no one is. They're not going to play at this clip. So when there is a 10-10 stretch over 20 games, what are we saying? What are we seeing when that happens? Because it's coming, I would assume, unless this is not just like special. If their worst stretch is better than 10-10 this year, Jim, if their worst stretch is 11-9,
they're winning 95 games
or
easily.
more.
Easily.
If that's their worst 20-game stretch.
Absolutely. Because they've already piled up so many wins early on and have gotten out to such a great start that, like you said, if their worst stretch this year is 10-10.
Yeah, that means they got a lot of stretches that are better than it.
They're winning 95 to 100 games.
Completely. And I don't know if their worst stretch will be 10-10.
But, if it does come where they do have a 5-game losing streak, like last year's team had 5-game losing streaks. 4 5-game losing streaks. Felt like 5.
Yeah.
And they won 93 games.
That is crazy.
You can withstand that. You can, because of this crazy hot start. You can, if you get out to 20 games over 500 and you have a 4-game losing streak,
you're still in decent shape.
Not the end of the world.
Yeah, you're right. All right. In hour number 3, on the other side, we will get to the wrap. If you missed Adrian Garcia Marquez, the voice of SDFC, you'll hear some of our conversation coming up at 4:30, plus your chance at the 4 o'clock hour to win a 4-pack of tickets to Sesame Place San Diego. And then coming up at 5 p.m., David J. from Mad Friars, an amazing resource for Padres fans. We'll talk about the start in the majors and the minors for the Friars at 5 p.m. with David J. Hour 3, John and Jim. Next.
All right, this update is brought to you by Anderson Plumbing, Heating, and Air. The Padres, they have an off day today. They start a 6-game road trip starting tomorrow night in Houston against the Astros. 5:10 first pitch there. Well, Kyle Hart will be on the mound for the Padres. Moving over to NBA play-in action tomorrow. It's a battle for the 8 seeds in the Eastern and Western Conference. Heat against Hawks, and the Mavs will take on the Grizzlies. Winners of those games will take on the Cavs and the Thunder. Rebate funds are running out fast. Don't get left behind at Anderson Plumbing. They're buying back your old water heater and giving you $500 in instant savings. Call Anderson PHA today.
Getting you all set for that drive home. Let's just start the show. Here's John and Jim.
All right, San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? This is hour 3 of John and Jim. We're here until 6. We do have David J. from Mad Friars joining us at 5 p.m. We'll talk about the Padres at the major league and minor league levels at 5 p.m. And Adrian Garcia Marquez, if you missed him, SDFC voice. We will have that interview for you coming up at 4:30, plus a chance to win Sesame Place tickets, a 4-pack of tickets coming up later this hour.
Should be fun.
Oh, it's going to be very, very fun. That I know.
Very fun.
The next 2 hours you're not going to want to miss. It could be the most fun you'll have all day.
We are fun guys.
That is definitely true. All right. So normally we get to the wrap right now. So let's get to the wrap right now.
It's time for the wrap, presented by Sombrero Mexican Food. Check out their website at sombreromex.com.
Lee Corso announced his retirement from College Game Day today. What's his legacy?
I would say College Game Day is going to be part of his legacy, and it's probably the biggest. Yeah. Like College Game Day turned into this must-watch show for college football fans during the season. Like College Game Day is massive. For schools that are picked for College Game Day, it turns into like this massive, massive event. And that started with Lee Corso.
Yeah, I agree. I think the number one, I would call it studio show, but they're not in a studio. Like the number one sports show around sports ever.
Would you say it's a pregame?
Yeah, okay. Number one pregame show ever in live sports is College Game Day. That's unquestioned.
Inside the NBA?
It's not even close. What the impact of this, the viewers of it, millions. It gets millions of viewers. It goes on site to campuses all season long. They've been doing it for 25 plus years, going to campuses. If you look up its true impact, if you looked up inside the NBA's ratings compared to College Game Day, college football Saturdays, appointment viewing for fans, NBA's different. It's not a college football NBA discussion. Although if you look at rights fees, a lot of people would tell you that college football is the second most popular sport in America to the NFL. But it's unquestioned that the number one show, pregame show in American television around sports has been College Game Day. You just can't argue it for me.
And one of the best traditions is
the helmet,
the mascot,
yeah,
or the helmet. And started with Lee Corso. I think I forget the exact story, but he was saying how it started, and it just kind of blew up
from there, yeah.
And it became this like must-have segment on their show. And it wasn't ever like planned that there was going to turn into this, what it is. But it is, every time you watch College Game Day, what mascot head is Lee Corso going to wear?
Right, exactly.
For the game that they're at, or, you know, the stadium, the school that they're at. So hats off to Lee Corso. College Game Day will not be the same without him because he's the OG of College Game Day.
I went to game day like 3 or 4 times because they'd always go to Wisconsin. And
it must be nice.
It was awesome. But whenever they would come there, it would always be like the line to get into with the crowd would start about 4 a.m.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
Because it was that big of a deal. Because people just wanted to see him put the Bucky head on or throw stuff at him. We're the reason they put that net behind everybody. Because the one year he didn't pick us and we threw marshmallows at them, so they put that field goal net behind him.
This last year, by the way, an average of 2.2 million viewers per show, which is like more people than watch a lot of college football games. 2.2 million viewers per show.
That's crazy.
Last year for College Game Day. Next question.
Should old Ron just retire?
Bro, what is he doing?
I don't know. What's going on with Pat McAfee saying he'll play for nothing?
talk about desperation. He desperately wants to stay in the news cycle. He desperately wants a team to say, yeah, Aaron, we want you to be our starting quarterback. And it's kind of probably an eye-opener for him that no NFL team besides the Steelers has really showed much interest in him. I think, his shtick is tired. His act is tired. And, not to say Aaron Rodgers couldn't be a serviceable quarterback in the league still, but not for a Super Bowl contender. When he tore his ACL, that effectively ended his career.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with that. I mean, again, we've talked about this before, but if you really dive into Aaron Rodgers' career, it has been forever since he's had like a run of the postseason.
Like, he's had MVP years, and
he's had the MVP years, exactly.
Division round.
But in terms of success, the postseason, yes, he has a Super Bowl, and it was forever ago, like 15 years ago, and since then, he's done nothing.
They weren't even the best team in the NFL that year. They got hot.
When I say he's done nothing, I mean in the postseason. You're right. He's had MVP seasons, but he's not leading a team to a Super Bowl because he hasn't done that even with a good ACL in 15 years. Next question.
Has Colorado gone too far in retiring Shedeur Sanders' number?
There's been a lot of criticism of this,
especially in Colorado.
Yeah.
I've seen local newscasters, so I'm sure we'll never be able to go to any Colorado football press conferences or games ever again because Dion has very thin skin.
Right.
We said it, last week when we talked about it?
Talked about it, yeah, maybe.
The Shedeur thing makes no sense. It's because Dion is his dad, and so that's why he's getting in. Like, he had a 10-7 record or something like
13
that.
and 12.
13 and 12. 10-7. No, I don't know what I'm saying. 13 and 12 overall. You're right.
Yeah, 13 and 12.
13 and 12. And you're getting your number retired. I get Travis Hunter who won the Heisman. You can easily say, yeah, we're retiring his number because he won the freaking Heisman Trophy. Shedeur had great years, but I mean, come on, what did he accomplish?
I mean, they've been playing football there 135 years, and they are just the fifth and sixth players to have their numbers retired. And there's former players, including one that was on the national championship team in 1990. That's like, if none of our numbers are retired, then their numbers shouldn't be retired. We won a national championship here as a team in 1990. It doesn't take away. I mean, Travis Hunter has been an amazing college player. And I think Shedeur Sanders has been a terrific college player as well. But when you retire a number, I mean, it goes beyond being, hey, we've had good years, we've had success. I mean, you're thinking about reaching really lofty team goals, I would think as well.
Like, did you take your team to a national championship game? Did you win a national championship? Did you win a Heisman? Travis Hunter won a Heisman, so the case
that's pretty
can
high.
be made.
Yep.
Now, the timing of it, like, who was the other Heisman winner in Colorado history?
Well, Rashawn Salaam.
Rashawn Salaam.
His number is retired.
It's retired there, but also it took a long time for him to get his number retired.
Right.
So, yeah, you can make the case for Travis Hunter, but also there's, Rashawn Salaam is like, wait, hold on. I had to wait X amount of years before I got my number retired here, and I won the Heisman too. And Travis gets it 4 months after he won the Heisman? Like, huh?
Right. I mean, the Aztecs running backs coach Darian Hagan is one of the best players ever to play for Colorado. I do not believe his number is retired. He was the quarterback when they won a national championship.
Well, it's like you're saying, there's other people are more deserving. Maybe down the line, I wouldn't have as much of a problem, but you're going to tell me he gets in before Cordell Stewart?
Cordell Stewart?
The Hail Mary, like one of the most famous plays in Colorado football history. It was the Westbrook that caught it. I forget what his first name was, John, but remember Stewart and it was Westbrook, but I always forget.
Yeah, I don't know.
It wasn't Brian, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But there's other people that should have went in before him.
And again, this is not Shedeur Sanders going to whoever it was at Colorado and saying, I want my number retired. They made that decision.
Is this to sell tickets for a spring game?
100%. It's 100% to do that.
Okay. Yeah.
Like, there's no question about
Again,
it.
I mean, Dion's got a lot of sway. When you think about where Colorado was 2 years ago, they're coming off like a 1-11 season. And now they've been all the sizzle and like they draw all these eyeballs to television. They've been a huge storyline of college football. So, yeah, it's interesting. I think it's probably going a little far, truthfully. Next question.
Would you guys take a point this weekend for SDFC?
Yeah, they've lost a couple games in a row here on the road. But they're not, getting severely outplayed. They're just not, getting the job done. And so picking up a point on the road when
Playing a really good team.
they're playing a really good team in Charlotte. Yeah, I think you would take that right now. Charlotte,
100%.
one of the best teams in MLS. And just getting points when you need them and then coming back home against Real Salt Lake next week, hopefully picking up 3 there. If you can pick up 4 points in the next 2 matches, like that, you'll take that in a second.
Yeah, what's interesting is because it's early, like we talked about the Padres, it's less early in MLS. But while the Padres have gotten off to a good start, SDFC also has gotten off to a good start. But the truth is, let's say they don't get a point this weekend in Charlotte, well, they could fall from 3rd place in the West to 7th or 8th place in the West because it's completely bottlenecked. There's all these teams with 14 or 13 points. They have 14 points. So it is true they've gotten off to a nice start. 4-2-2 is a really good start, even better for an expansion franchise. But if they do lose this weekend, again, tough test at Charlotte. And again, it's still so early. There's plenty of time on the other side of it. You might be looking up, and as opposed to being for a long time in 2nd place in the West, you might be in 6th place in the West come Sunday. So it'd be nice to get a point. I think it's a really good point. I think a lot like what we talk about with baseball. Hey, win half your games on the road. In baseball, you get points on the road in Major League Soccer. That's a challenge because teams are good at home, including San Diego. There are really good home field environments. And if San Diego's good at home, maybe that'll take care of itself in getting them to the postseason this year.
And losing the way they did against Colorado and Austin FC, you hope they get out to better starts.
You're saying because they fell behind early?
Yeah, and they had to scratch and claw their way back, and that's tough when you have to do that on the road all the time. So I think getting out to a fast start Saturday against one of the best teams in the league, that's going to be key, and making sure that Charlotte doesn't get out to that fast start that STFC has allowed in their last couple road matches against Austin FC and Colorado.
You can hear it right here. San Diego Sports 760, 4:30, with it being an East Coast game. 4:30 is the start time. 4 p.m. our pregame coverage will begin. You'll hear from Adrian Garcia Marquez, who is the voice of SDFC, coming up at 4:30 right here on John and Jim. San Diego Sports 760. Again, a reminder, we do have those tickets to give away this hour. We have a 4-pack of tickets to Sesame Place San Diego to give away, and we will do that later this hour. Health updates on the Padres on this off day. On the other side, Adrian Garcia Marquez at 4:30. David J. from Mad Friars at 5 p.m. This is John and Jim. right, AM radio keeps vital voices accessible. Congress can secure its future, but we need your help. Text AM to 52886 now to support keeping AM radio in cars. Tell your member of Congress to pass legislation now and keep AM radio in cars. Standard message and data rates apply. Adrian Garcia Marquez at 4:30, David J at 5, and your chance to win those tickets to Sesame Place coming up later this hour. We have some health updates, Jim, on the Padres, but did you see this note? I think Talking Friars had something on it, shockingly. It was in Kevin. It was Kevin. It was the repurposing of Kevin's article.
Oh, perfect.
Which I respect the hustle, Ben. You know I do, and I appreciate it because it basically makes the show.
Get a job.
He has jobs.
I'm just kidding.
Stop tweeting out about the Padres. Get a job?
Find a job.
He has like more jobs than we do.
Go outside.
He tweeted something earlier today from Kevin's daily newsletter, right? Our Padres insider.
Who? Fadden is our insider? Or
I don't know. Whoever's our insider. We should have Fadden. Kevin joins Monday, Wednesday, Friday. We could have Fadden Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday.
And then Fadden can just repurpose all of what Kevin said to us on Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Exactly.
Awesome.
But what Kevin wrote is yesterday, Jeremiah Estrada. Did you see this? He strikes out a couple of Cubs and on his way off the mound is staring into the suite that Jed Hoyer is in.
Good.
As if to say, and he was quoted about it, like, you gave up on me, you quit on me, and look at me now.
Good.
And he's quoted as saying that it kind of feels like an ex-girlfriend that messed up and made a wrong decision. You find a new girl and are like, what's up? You find a better version. Mm-hmm. That was Jeremiah Estrada yesterday. Again, released by the Cubs. This is another Preller masterclass picked up. The rest is history. He's been terrific for this team for the last 2 years.
Another dumpster dive find by AJ that has turned into gold. He could easily be this team's closer.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
He is a future closer in the sport for sure. And when you have a closer in the 7th inning for you,
right,
followed by another closer and Jason Adam in the 8th inning for you, followed by your actual closer, Robert Suarez.
A lot of closers.
They got a lot of closers. They've turned the game into a 5-6 inning game if they have the lead. After 5 innings, if they have the lead, more often than not, they're going to win those games.
Yeah.
Just if the bullpen is rested and healthy to go on those days. If you have games, and they've had it as recently, I think maybe the Colorado series. I forget which game it was. Pitcher went 5. Or pitcher went 6. Estrada, Adam, Suarez, 6, 7, 8, 9. Game's over.
Just kind of clean. You're
very
right.
Clean.
The 6 inning start, the 1 inning from 3 relievers, your top 3, right? Set up, close.
Or even if your starter just goes 5 and you have the lead.
You have Adrian Morahone in there. You're right.
Yuki Matsui, Wander Peralta, who's been really good to start this season.
Yeah, their bullpen has probably been their strength. I mean, the whole team's been a strength, but their bullpen has probably been a strength among strengths.
I would say right now the best part of this team has been their bullpen.
They don't blow leads. The first time they relinquished a lead was in this Cubs series when a reliever entered with a runner on 3rd and 1 out. That was the first time in a 1-run game, and that run scored on a bunt. And that's the first time all year a reliever entered with a lead and left in a tie game or trailing. First time all year.
So it was last Saturday is what I was thinking about. When Kyle Hart went 6, gave up only 1 hit against the Rockies.
Right.
Then Estrada, Adam, Suarez went 7, 8, 9. It wasn't clean, but you got the job done. And that's literally the recipe right there. You get that, they're going to win a lot of ball games.
In terms of health, we mentioned this earlier, not just Jackson Merrill, Brandon Lockridge, the 4th outfielder, his backup, both have stayed back. They're both dealing with hamstrings. They both will not be on the road trip through Houston and Detroit. They've both begun baseball activities to work their way back. I think Jay Cronenworth is obviously further away. He's got that rib fracture.
Thank goodness for Jose Iglesias.
No doubt, who's hit and obviously hit last year. Darvish, Kevin said yesterday, has thrown off a mound, but not like a bullpen as of yet. And in fact, he said yesterday, I wish we had the sound on it, that, and he was just speculating. He hasn't heard this from anyone,
Ooh, speculation.
but he was speculating that they might hope to get him back in time for June when they face the Dodgers. So I'm like, oh, June. Oh, June. I was thinking maybe May, but they have the benefit of time with the way this team has played so far. And maybe it's before June. He was just speculating. He wasn't saying it would be like, hey, he's the Dodger killer. Get him back for game one of that series. But he's saying, I still think it's probably it's more than, it's weeks, right, Jim? He hasn't even thrown a bullpen. So add up weeks from April 17th, and you're certainly at some point in May.
I love how Kevin and Schulte are describing how Yu Darvish is throwing a baseball.
There's been a lot of description. Aggressive toss, and then off a mound, but not to a standing catcher. He's thrown off a mound to a standing catcher, but not yet to a sitting catcher.
Like how?
Like, what's the difference?
Like, is he throwing the baseball or is he not throwing the baseball?
Right.
And the way that they're describing how he's throwing the baseball is, I think, fascinating.
And then Kevin said yesterday, he's like, I think he joked with me because he told me he threw 95, but I'm pretty sure he didn't because he was throwing to a standing catcher. I'm like, yeah, he's not throwing 95.
No.
Coming off a month removed from throwing. That's the last thing they want to see. They don't want to see like max effort.
Bro, if he's throwing 95 and he's
call him up.
Popping the glove, he's going to be starting
in the club.
He's starting this road trip.
Exactly. He's starting tomorrow night.
That was another thing too. A couple years ago, it was like, oh, Mike Clevenger's throwing a bullpen. He's popping the mitt out in center field. Like, you hear the pop of the glove. I'm like, okay.
And then he threw like a third of an inning,
and his arm blew up.
Exactly.
And he got DFA'd by the White Sox the other day.
The closest.
Have fun working at McDonald's.
Did he get DFA'd?
He did.
One of the players that might be closest to a return is actually Brian Hoeing, the reliever for the Padres, who's been out because
great, more bullpen help.
I was just gonna say, I mean, that's only going to strengthen a strength potentially when he returns. So I think it's the biggest thing they're dealing with is injuries, but they've overcome all of it over a short period of time, which is the start of the year.
Yep, and it's because they're not putting up 9-10 runs a game.
No, they're not.
But the reason why they're winning, I firmly believe, is their pitching. It's hard to like say it's other, like if I were to rank the reasons why they're 15-4, bullpen is close to the top of that list along with their starting pitching. As it would probably go, I mean, Fernando Tatis Jr., bullpen, their starting pitching at home, especially. Like those to me are like the biggest factors into, I think, why they are where they are so far. And then you throw in Machado, obviously.
Don't do that to Schilt. Don't do that.
Talking about on the field,
Schulte is the reason why this team's 15-4. Without Schilt, they probably haven't won a game.
I'm talking about on the field, John.
I'm kidding.
I know you are. I think
I'm kidding, but I give Schilt credit.
Absolutely, we've given Schilt a lot of credit here to start the season for what he did last year, for what he has done so far this year. Dude deserves a lot of credit.
Yesterday in the 8th inning with 2 outs and the tying run at second, and Suarez warmed and ready, he stuck with Wandy Peralta, and it worked.
I know.
You know what I mean?
Push
So
all the right buttons.
That's exactly. And now again, they're gotten off to such a good start that everything has just worked. And it's a credit to the team, obviously. But Mike Schilt, when needing to make a good decision, has been able to make them, and none better than yesterday. I was like, Wandy Peralta. It was lefty on lefty. I'm like, Wandy Peralta, but he's a new version of Wandy Peralta this year.
And I don't want to see it happen, but I am curious to see what happens when this team eventually faces adversity.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Like you never want it to happen. You never want this team to. You never want to say, "I hope they go through a 5-game losing streak just so I can see what they do on the other side of that." Like, no, I don't want to see.
I prefer them to not lose 5 games in a row, but I don't know if there's an inevitability to that or not.
Maybe they never lose 5 games in a row this season, or never lose 5 games in a row ever again in the history of the franchise.
Or maybe they never.
They never lose anymore.
Right,
like they just win every game for the rest of the time.
If they do
lose games,
then let's see.
Big if they lose games.
Adrian Garcia Marquez will be on the call Saturday for SDFC against Charlotte. You'll hear our conversation with Adrian on the other side. We've got a 4-pack of tickets to Sesame Place later this hour. David J. from Mad Friars at 5 p.m. This is John and Jim.
All right, this update is brought to you by Anderson Plumbing, Heating, and Air. Padres off day today. They'll take on the Houston Astros starting tomorrow for a 3-game series. They start their 6-game road trip through Houston and Detroit. 5:10 first pitch time tomorrow night. Kyle Hart will be on the mound for the Padres. And an off day in the NBA play-in tournament tomorrow. It resumes with the 8th seed on the line in the Eastern and Western Conference. Heat take on the Hawks starting at 4, followed by the Mavs and Grizzlies at 6:30. Rebate funds are running out fast. Don't get left behind. Anderson Plumbing, they're buying back your old water heater and giving you $500 in instant savings. Call Anderson PHA today. Nobody wilts clients like they do.
All right, David J. Matt Friars at 5, a 4-pack of tickets to Sesame Place in 15 minutes. But if you missed our conversation earlier, Adrian Garcia Marquez, voice of SDFC. We started the conversation by asking Adrian what surprised him the most about this team's start.
First and foremost, thank you very much for the invite. And can I just go and call you guys Juan and Jaimito? Juanito.
I love
Jaimito.
that. That's the new name of the
that.
show, actually. Knocking. Thanks for that, Adrian. Love that.
the cariño, you know, nothing but love and respect. I think that's kind of what Darren and I, with Warren, the whole team, we're very impressed with the discipline, the attitude, the character, the build, everything as advertised. What Tyler Heaps told us they were going to get done roster-wise and why the characteristics to each player, why they were selected, handpicked by him and the staff and Mikey to be here, the whole plan. It's just phenomenal to see how they have really identified how they're going to play, and they are not going to stop playing that style of football for 90 plus minutes. They're constantly on attack. They create opportunities, and I think at the end of the afternoons and night times, whatever the 90 minutes, Mikey wants to see chances created. Mikey has milestone posts for these guys to create opportunities, to constantly be on top of the other side and just create chances. You look at the amount of assists per goal San Diego FC have. I mean, you're talking about 12 assists or so out of the 16 goals. It's just somebody serving the ball up, 5-star servers from somebody. And on set pieces, they've been lethal. All of this was advertised. This was told to us. Tyler Heaps and Mikey Varas told us from the beginning this was the style of play. And that's what I've been most impressed with, the discipline and just the entire unit buying into Mikey Varas' vision and Tyler Heaps' vision for this club. And guys are just lining up and playing San Diego FC style football by the book, and it's brilliant. It's fun, and for us calling the game, it's super exciting.
To start the year, Anders Dreyer, I think, has been one of the most consistent players on this club. Are you surprised with how well, from just match day one up at Galaxy, how he has been on the field for a lot of time here? How impressed are you with him and his play? I'm very impressed, not surprised. When a guy shows up and he says, give me the 10, I'll take number 10. It's my favorite number, but there's also a lot of subliminal, coding to having the number 10. You have to deliver. You have to be that guy on the field, the one that's constantly looking to create for others or crack it yourself. I think Anders has been just that. That's why you'll hear it on our broadcast. We call him Anders Fire because that's what he does. He's the guy that starts the fires. He comes up. Jasper Lafosen, we can't forget about, him coming up that right flank. Frankie Blackjack, Franco Negri's coming up the left side, doing his thing. Whoever it is on that back line coming forward, Chris McVeigh, obviously Patty McNair, and it just starts from that build, from the back into the midfield with Luca. Luca's playing brilliant, shuttling the ball through the middle of the park. Aníbal Godoy, what he does, and Capitan Terskov. I mean, you can't ask more from your captain, from a player that being that guy in the middle of the park, defending things and getting that ball to push forward, intercepting, leading the Major League Soccer in interceptions. So they set the tone for Anders, for Chucky. Chucky individually, we've seen the electricity. That's why he's the DP. And just what we're going to find out how this all kind of comes together. Again, this is going to be a great matchup against Charlotte to test all of these points again. But I really, really love what Anders has done. I'm not surprised. His talent merits that he wears number 10, and he's delivered.
You mentioned Chucky. We're with Adrian Garcia Marquez, the voice of San Diego FC right here on San Diego Sports 760. What has impressed you the most with Chucky? We know he missed some time due to injury, but when he's been out there, what have you enjoyed most about watching his game?
His teamwork, his sacrifice. He plays for the other guys. He doesn't play for himself. And we know, guys. I mean, they come into this league, DPs do, and they come in and, hey, I want green M&Ms only delivered, and I want this and I want that. None of that from Chucky. Chucky bought in to San Diego FC's philosophy, building the team, the guys that, showed up on the roster. And it's so special, guys, to see a team build this kind of chemistry this quickly. And it has to do with the guys that kind of set the tone, Chucky being one of them. If he buys in, the rest buy in, right? And I believe that that's what Chucky has delivered on top of everything else as advertised, the player, the electricity, as we mentioned. He's Chucky. Hi, I'm Chucky. Want to play? Yes. He wants to destroy you. He wants to kill you. He wants to come after whoever is the defender in front of him. But he's always and constantly thinking about his teammates and sacrificing himself. You see how he goes box to box as well, just going back and forth, defending. He loses the ball. He's the first one to track back and try to intercept it and gain that possession right back for his side. So I really love what Chucky has done. I think Irving is definitely setting the tone for a leader, and we have plenty of those guys on this team, and that's another, I think, a box we can check. There's plenty of leadership. Guys are checking each other, and it's a team. Literally, it's a team. It's not about individuals. This is about team football.
It's going to be a good test this Saturday in Charlotte. Charlotte sitting at in second place in the Eastern Conference, 16 points on the year. What kind of team is Charlotte, and what does San Diego FC need to do this Saturday to kind of end their road losing streak?
It's crazy. You look at the numbers. Their goals created are off of individuals, right? Individual talent. You said Pep Biel, the man that came in from Mallorca, distributes the ball so nicely, creates goals, or he's shown you the ability to pump them in there. Zaha's in there. Ajerman, those three up top. I mean, that trident is dangerous. It's going to be a true test for our back four and CJ Dos Santos. And then they also have a great keeper, just like we do. They have a great keeper in Christian Kalina, who's really good at keeping them out, had 6 saves the other day. I mean, we're in for a match, guys. Two of the strongest sides in Major League Soccer facing off against each other in the Queen City. Great vibe, that atmosphere. In those couple of years there, I was doing MLS for Apple TV, guys, and I would always look forward to different venues, right? As it should be. As a broadcaster, there are places you look forward to broadcasting in. And Charlotte, I was curious about, man, and as advertised, what an energy, what an atmosphere. We're in for a treat on Saturday, and I think we're going to have a game that's just going to be two heavyweight fighters going Canelo style, just swinging. No, this is no Mayweather stuff. There's not going to be any of this waiting for your shot and being defensive and boring. No, this is going to be all out attack and see who's standing in the end. And I'm hoping it's our guys. I like what I'm seeing out of Mikey Ibarra's side again. I think they have enough to compete and show everybody that San Diego FC, this is a good start for a reason. And Saturday is going to be a great test because that is a great team on that other side.
The final one for me, speaking of venues, what has it been like calling Major League Soccer at Snapdragon Stadium?
Oh, a dream come true, guys. Being a kid, growing up in San Diego, I remember going to the soccer games there at the Murph, the old Murph before, but still we're still in the same place, right? Technically, it's still the same part of Mission Valley, La Misión del Gol, and we feel it, and I feel it in the atmosphere. And it's beautiful to see. Even across the pond, I was observing some bloggers and podcasters were talking about the venues and the true following that is in North America when it comes to clubs, right? Atlanta leading the way with the average attendance and sneaking into this whole entire operation, San Diego FC and the San Diego fans. The finest city has shown up. The electricity at Snapdragon, they turned it into that. That's why you'll hear me say it on the air. When I start calling it the Murph Dragon, because we're starting to breathe fire in that building. And it's just, I just love it. And as a broadcaster, I feed off of that energy and we let it fly as well. I know Darren feels it. Warren feels it. We all feel it. And it's just an electric atmosphere. And I'm not surprised, guys. We waited 30 plus years to get our own MLS team and it's there. And the fans have shown up and they're loud and they're passionate and they've set the example and set the tone for expansion franchises moving forward.
Adrian, we will be listening this weekend. San Diego FC at Charlotte FC. 4:30 is the kick time. Pre-match coverage will begin at 4. And then next weekend, San Diego FC back home against Salt Lake here at Snapdragon.
By the way, can I get in on the Padre talk real quick?
Absolutely.
Yeah, what do you got for us?
What's that?
What do you got for us on the Padres? We're 15-4.
I caught a little bit of what you guys were talking about in your opening segment. I mean, what else can you say about the Padres? As a baseball broadcaster and as somebody that I observe these little details as we're kind of paid to do. Fernando Tatis Jr., putting that pressure on himself, saying, I'm the greatest. I'm the best baseball player in MLB right now, knowing that Shohei Ohtani is up the 5 freeway. And I love that he did that. But now you got to back it up. And boy, has he backed it up. I've seen the adjustments, the way that he's attacking the strike zone. You see that his numbers, he's more disciplined. And that's translating. Guys, we are seeing Fernando Tatis Jr. grow and turn into that ball player we all suspected he was going to be. I think the measurements on him were a little bit, I don't want to say harsh, but I mean, just remember, he was still a kid. He was still really young. He's going to make mistakes. But I feel like now we're seeing that transition into that player that we all expected him to become. And get on my back, I will lead the way with as an example with actions. And I love the ABs that he's registered. And I've noticed that leg kick's kind of gone. That front foot is a little more quiet. And I think that just might be some of the keys, some of the things that he worked on to make him this ball player coming in. And the Padres are benefiting from it. But it's just fun to watch this team, guys, working their way to the bullpen. That is elite. It's just fun to watch baseball. And hey, only one loss at home. Venga.
Amazing.
Good job.
That's well said, Adrian. That was well said on SDFC.
You can do multiple things there.
Yeah, absolutely. Adrian, appreciate it. Have a good call this weekend, and we'll do it again soon, all right?
Sounds good, guys. Thanks again for the invite. Vamos. Let's take out Charlotte.
All right. Great to catch up with Adrian Garcia Marquez. David J. from Mad Friars will join us at 5. But call right now if you want a free 4-pack of tickets to Sesame Place. This is a great giveaway valued at hundreds of dollars. If you want a free 4-pack of tickets to Sesame Place, call 877-767-4760.
Is your mouth on fire?
Yeah, we just had some ahi nachos, ahi tuna nachos.
Like pokey nachos.
They are spectacular.
Amazing. I don't know where they're from, but they're awesome.
877-767-4760. If you want a free 4-pack of tickets to Sesame Place, call right now. 877-767-4760. We have a free 4-pack of tickets to Sesame Place. First 2 callers will be contestants for trivia. One of you is winning a free 4-pack of tickets to Sesame Place. Call right now. Again, 877-767-4760. David J. at 5 p.m. This is John and Jim. All right, we need a second caller because our second caller dropped off. If you want to play a trivia game for a chance to win a 4-pack of tickets to Sesame Place San Diego, if you want to play Brent's, who's the caller that's on hold, call 87 not our Brent. Call 877-767-4760 right now if you want a chance to win a free 4-pack of tickets to Sesame Place right here in San Diego. Great prize, great giveaway, valued at hundreds of dollars. Again, if you want those tickets, call 877-767-4760. Do it right now. 877-767-4760. Call right now.
Why?
Yeah, I agree.
No.
That's a good point.
I was going to say, why did we have to have a 9-10 matchup in the play-in games yesterday? Those games were awful. And not only were they awful, at halftime, they were over identical scores to each other.
71-47 or something.
Yeah, it was right? 74 or 47, or it was some crazy number. It was like, what?
So are you over it? I mean, now that the Warriors as a 7 have moved on. They're in the playoffs.
Yeah.
So are you kind of over the rest of the play-in?
I could care less about tomorrow night.
Right, which is playing for the 8th seed in both the East and the West. What are our big matchups coming up Friday night?
Friday night, as I've been saying in my update, thanks for listening.
I haven't listened one time.
I know you haven't. Heat Hawks, 4 p.m. Should be a barn burner.
Where's that game?
It's in Atlanta.
They're playing it in the dome. They should play in front of 80,000 fans.
Either a 37-45 Heat team will be at the 8th seed, or a 40-42 Atlanta Hawk team, which got blown out by the Magic, will be an 8th seed. One of these teams gets the opportunity to get blown out by the Cavs.
Okay.
And losing 4 games.
Right.
Same thing with the Grizzlies. Did you spill on yourself?
What'd I get on me?
Some nacho?
Dude, if it's your nacho that
I didn't do it. Don't blame me for
I blame you for
being
everything.
an awful eater.
Yeah. That's fair. Carry on.
You're listening?
Some water on me.
Pause. Mavs and
pause?
I don't know. Mavs and Grizzlies. Does that excite you?
Mavs and Grizzlies doesn't excite me, believe it or not.
If Kyrie Irving was on the Mavericks, I'd be excited about that matchup. But
what do we got here?
What do we have?
First of all, we got Marshall, who's new to San Diego Sports 760. Help me out with napkins.
Shout out to Marshall. Welcome to the crew.
I've known Jim for 8 years. Marshall, he's never done anything that nice.
What are you talking about? I made you my officiant at my wedding.
That wasn't nice. That was stress for a year and a half.
What do you mean?
Are you serious? It's like the hardest part of my life.
So that was a nice gesture by me, I think.
It was very nice.
I think I bought you a watch too. Do you still have that?
He got you those Pokemon cards?
Yeah.
No, you're right. I feel bad now. I feel bad. Jim.
No, you don't feel bad.
You're a great officiant. No, I'm a good officiant for you.
I know. You crushed it.
Let's play, by the way.
All right, 3 questions, 2 contestants, 1 lifeline. Today's 2 contestants. We have Brent, not me, and Alan. Brent, you called in first, so you have your choice of John or Jim. Who do you want to go with?
Whoever. I can't hardly hear you.
Whoever.
You can hardly hear us?
Yeah,
You're driving. Okay, you're going to go. Brent is going to be with John.
Okay, Brent gets John as his partner. Alan, you get Jim as your partner, okay?
All righty. All right.
All right. Trainwreck Radio has commenced. Brent, what is the question of the day?
It's going to be a classic. I feel it already. All right, guys. Can you name the top 10 baseball players since 2021 with the most home runs? So we're looking for the 10 players with the most home. Slow down.
Okay, hold on.
We're looking for the 10 players with the most home runs since 2021.
Play the rules here, Brent.
And Alan will go first.
Okay.
Okay, hold on.
All right, hold on. Okay, we'll wait for you, Alan.
Is that Alan or Brent?
We'll wait. I don't know.
Alan, are you ready?
Okay. I'm ready. I'm ready.
All right, Alan, what's your first guess? You do have a lifeline if you want to use it.
You said MLB players, right?
Yeah, since 2021, most home runs since 2021.
Let's go with Mike Trout.
Okay, just one at a time. That's good. Let's see if it's on the list. Brent is checking. Our Brent back here in the studio. Not on the list, Mike Trout.
All right.
Okay, it's all right. You're still in the game.
Yeah.
Explain what happens next.
Brent is up next. Brent, what is your first guess? You do have a lifeline if you want to use it.
Most homers. Aaron Judge.
Aaron Judge.
I like
Great
this
guess.
guess. Yes.
Good guess. All right, you're on the board. Alan, back to you. What is your second guess? You do have a lifeline if you want to use it.
Jay Otani.
Shea
Shohei
Ohtani
Ohtani.
on the list. Brent, back to you. What is your second guess? You do have a lifeline if you want to use it.
Alvarez.
Alvarez.
Gonna need a first name.
No Alvarez is
don't.
on the list, including.
Oh, it doesn't matter.
Oh wait, there is an Alvarez. What's his first name?
Why Alvarez? Jordan.
Yeah.
Jordan.
Yeah, it's fine. That's fine. That's good.
Okay.
That's good job.
All right. I have no idea what the score is. Alan, you're up next. What is your next guess? You do have a lifeline.
Alan needs this to stay alive.
Okay. What do you got, Alan? You have a lifeline if you want to use it.
Okay. Let's go. Oh, what is his name? Oh no.
You have a lifeline if you want to use it.
Yeah, let's use Lifeline.
All right,
I cannot use his name, but I know he's on there.
Okay. Let's just try Juan Soto.
There we go.
Take it. There we go.
Juan
Boom.
Soto
All
on
right.
the list.
So you're live, but Brent, if you get this correct, you walk off and you win. You do have a lifeline if you want to use it. What is your third and final guess, Brent?
Oh, Kyle Schwarber.
Kyle Schwarber.
Schwarber for the win. Wow. I like that.
Look, the game
That's a
started
good
off
call, dude.
extremely awful.
Oh, I thought we were trending
that-
for a disaster.
You guys are covered nicely.
That was train wreck radio waiting to happen.
But the train got back on the tracks there late.
Somehow it did.
Yeah. It was falling.
Oh, it was falling
was-
fast.
It was falling right
Like,
in
The
like
train
into
started
the
moving.
ocean.
The train started moving, and we were already
Yeah.
off the rails.
Yeah, but we got back up.
Yeah, we
Kyle
did.
Schwarber was a good pull. Who's
Very
on
good.
this? Who's on this list?
All right, Judge is number one. He's hit 203 homers.
What?
Is that good? Yeah. Then it's Otani, then Schwarber, then Pete Alonso, Matt Olson, Jordan Alvarez,
Yeah.
then Vlad Jr., Soto, Jose Ramirez, and Austin Riley.
Tyler Wade.
Let me
Wade's
check.
on that list, right?
I also I missed like the all-time weighty game, huh?
Dude, 2 for 2 walks, starting in center field.
I saw
Mike
Manny,
Schilt-
17.
But Mike Schilt called out Toddy and Manny post game for their at bats over Wade, and everyone was like shocked.
I thought I saw a quote from Mike
He
Schultz
did.
saying how great Tyler Wade
But
was.
he's like, he goes, "Hey, does anyone want to guess who my favorite 2 players at bats were today?" And everyone's like, "Tyler Wade." He's like, "No." He's like, "I'm glad you said it." He's
Did
like,
everybody say Tyler
yeah,
Wade?
Yeah, like
That is
they're like Tyler Wade,
hilarious.
right? He's like, "No." Well, he's like, he was up there, but Tatis and Manny.
It just shows that like we all know.
Isn't that amazing?
That
I
is
would have said Tyler
amazing.
Wade even if he went 0 for 4 with 4
Oh
Ks.
my gosh! I wish I could have heard
Dude,
that.
it was unbelievable.
Anybody can guess my favorite at bat today?
Wade?
Tyler Wade.
I mean, it was the game of his career, and he wasn't on the list.
And you go 2 for 2 with 2
2
walks.
walks, I know. Congratulations, you have won a 4-pack of tickets to Sesame Place. They got a lot going on over there, Jim. As you
What do they
know.
have going on, John?
Elmo's Extravaganza, exciting rides, moving groove to the Sesame Street Party Parade. You know, because that's why you were off yesterday, right?
No, that's not why I was on this day.
Plus, meet the Easter Bunny and your favorite furry friends dressed in their Easter best. Now through April 20th, visit SesamePlaceSanDiego.com for more details. Open daily now through April 20th. Visit SesamePlaceSanDiego.com for more details. David J. from Mad Friars. I mean, we have to ask him about this start. We need to get the latest. Leo DeVries.
Yep.
Obviously, Ethan Salas, the system in general,
Leo
but the
Dallas,
whatever. But the start in the major leagues here. David J. from Mad Friars. Mad Friars is an amazing resource for Padres fans. David J. typically joins us maybe 3, 4, 5 times a year. He will join us on the other side. We'll talk about the Padres' 15-4 start and the state of their system, including their top prospects, including Leo DeVries and Ethan Salas. David J. to kick off hour 4 of John and Jim. That'll come your way next.
All right, this update's brought to you by Anderson Plumbing, Heating, and Air. Padres, they're off to a very hot start, 15-4. They're on an off day today. They start a 6-game road trip starting in Houston tomorrow night against the Astros. 5:10 first pitch there, where Kyle Hart will the mound for the Padres. Rebate funds are running out fast. Don't get left behind. At Anderson Plumbing, they're buying back your old water heater and giving you $500 in instant savings. Call Anderson PHA today.
Getting you all set for that drive home. Let's just start the show. Here's John and Jim.
All right, San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? This is the final hour of John and Jim. We are here until 6 p.m. By the way, tomorrow we'll be at Riverwalk for an Aztec golf event, the Coryell Classic. We'll talk to J.D. Wicker, Sean Lewis, Aztec football players, including Trey White, coming off a terrific year last year on the Mesa, one of the premier edge rushers in America, back here in 2025. So looking forward to that tomorrow on the air from 2 to 6. Kevin Acey also will join us getting ready for that Padres Astros series, which will kick off tomorrow night in Houston at 5:10 as the Padres open up that 6-game roadie coming up tomorrow night in Houston. But again, we'll be out on remote getting you ready for actually Saturday. We'll be out there Saturday as well, Snapdragon Stadium, the Aztec Fast Showcase. And free tickets are available for that at goaztecs.com. We're going to catch up in a moment with David J. from Mad Friars, who covers the Padres minor league system. But we also need to get his thoughts on what's going on right now in the major leagues. It is great to have David J. back with us. As we always say, Mad Friars is a terrific resource for Padres fans, covering both the major and minor leagues. And David, we appreciate it. And there's a lot to get to. I have to start with the major leagues, and we'll get into the minor leagues. But 15-4. What has impressed you the most, and how surprising is this? Because you just never expect a team to start 15-4, and that's where the Padres are right now.
I don't know what you're talking about. We had it pegged exactly that way.
Exactly.
Like we had them 16-3 actually,
know,
but
right.
15-4, it's a nice start.
Yeah, it's good to talk to you guys, and you know, I've done a fair amount of advanced research here, and generally what I found is this is a lot of fun. I mean, the team has just been great to watch, and you know, I was living on the East Coast in '98, and didn't get to have the experience that everybody out here did at that point, and so getting to see just the way everybody's fired up about it's been great.
And the 15-4 start, it's one of the best in franchise history. And I've been saying, it's small sample size, but it does feel, David, like this is for real. This is not fool's gold, their start, because you could see some teams have hot starts and they fizzle off later in the season. Do you feel the same?
Yeah, and there's nobody who you're looking at right now going, oh God, this is a mirage, right?
Yeah.
And T. Wade's 4-hit game notwithstanding, they're still waiting for a couple of guys to get going. You haven't seen Dylan Cease be Dylan Cease, and nonetheless, here they are. So, it's setting up to be a really fun year.
All right, so David J. from Mad Friars is with us. Let's talk a little bit about this system, specifically AAA. I mean, we've already seen all this movement because of injuries, right? Whether it's the Jackson Merrills and the Brandon Lockridges and Jay Cronenworth. Who in AAA right now is a name, or maybe a couple of names to keep an eye on in terms of potentially impacting the Major League roster at some point sooner or later this year?
Yeah, well, I mean, when you look at where the gaps on the big league roster are, right? Clearly, catcher's one of them. Clearly, outfield, the left field situation with Hayward and Gurriel doesn't seem to be especially tenable. And so then you look down to AAA, and guy who's just off to a blistering start is Luis Camposano. And there are certainly reasons to think this organization has moved on from the idea of him being a catcher at big league level, but he had 2 more homers today, He's leading the PCL in batting average. He's leading the PCL in slugging. He's leading the PCL in OPS. He's actually thrown out. He's looked pretty good defensively. Thrown out about 40% of the runners he's faced. His average exit velocity seems like it's hovering close to 100 miles an hour at this point. Does any of that matter? I'm not sure, but it's certainly a better way for him to start than he did last year when he went down. And then you look at the outfield situation. Jonathan Perlaza is also off to a really great start. He's a switch hitter. He's pretty limited to left field, but he's got a really interesting mix of power and a good approach at the plate. He signed as a minor league free agent after spending last year in Korea. I think the fan base was hoping he'd really excel in spring training. He looked sort of so there, but just off to a really strong start out with the Chihuahuas. And then, Tirso hasn't been quite as hot, but unlike Perlaza, he's already on the 40-player roster. He's been lifting the ball more than he ever has before, which is really the primary focus area he has offensively. And even though we've been writing about him for like 9 years at this point, he's still only just turned 25. And the org really would love to have something to show offensively from that massive 2016 international free agency class. So a couple of guys there. I know yesterday they made a minor trade, sending Brett Sullivan to the Pirates organization to reacquire Bryce Johnson. I just want to note that seems to be insurance in case something happens to Wade, who was a non-roster insurance in case something happened to Lockridge, who was there as non-roster insurance in case something happened to Merrill, right? If you look at, is there anybody else in the organization who can, if you need somebody to play center field 4 consecutive days, there isn't. Now you've got a guy who at least you can do that for a few days if it's needed, but I think that's all that move was.
I mean, they were having Brett Sullivan play, I think, left field. It was like, well, wait, what? That was kind of
that's actually where he played third base and left field when he originally when the Rays originally drafted him. So yeah.
Okay, well that's now he's gone and so they've reinforcements like you said. When you look at elsewhere in the organization, David, who else is out to fast starts elsewhere around the minors for the Padres?
Yeah, well, I mean, certainly when you look at the guys who we had in the top 20, Romeo Sanabria, who's the big first baseman out at AA San Antonio. I think we were probably higher on him than a lot of folks in the industry. We had him at number 11 and coming into the year, and he's just been hitting everything hard while really continuing to maintain his zone discipline. I had some questions about whether he'd be able to consistently turn on good inside fastballs coming into the year, but he's made some real improvements in his physical explosiveness, and he's doing damage in a ballpark that is not typically friendly to left-handed sluggers. So that's been a nice thing to see. I think that the other guy, just from a position player perspective, Lamar King, who was just off of our overall top 20, was in mine and a couple of ours individually, has just been beating the snot out of the ball for Lake Elsinore. He was a 4th round pick out of high school back in 2022. If the name sounds familiar, Lamar King was the defensive lineman for the Seattle Seahawks. And it is not hard looking at him to believe that he is the son of a former NFL defensive lineman, just a physical beast. And he's been off to a really strong start for the Storm offensively. He's had a whole bunch of injuries since he originally signed and has been delayed behind the plate. He had shoulder surgery and wasn't able to catch it all last year. So he's still a project as a catcher, but certainly where he is offensively is pretty great. And then somebody who was way off the radar coming into the year, outfielder Moises Gomez is a guy who signed as a minor league free agent. It was actually the second time he's left an organization as a minor league free agent already. Just absolutely torching the ball for San Antonio. And there's nothing new about that for him, but he's a guy who struck out in more than a third of his plate appearances in the upper minors over the last 3 years. And all of a sudden, he's got that strikeout rate down just about 25%. If he's able to keep it even in that range, he's going to put up some pretty interesting numbers. I mean, he's probably got about as good raw power as anybody in the organization. So that'll be a fun guy to keep an eye on to see if he can continue to make that improvement.
David J. Matt Fryer's with us right now. John and Jim, San Diego Sports 760. Let's not bury the lead. What about Ethan Salas and Leo DeVries? How have they started their seasons in the minors?
Well, so both of them have been pretty limited. I mean, they've each had 8 games. Leo's in his 8th game tonight. He is in the lineup. There's just a little bit of a social media kerfuffle because he was pulled from the game on Tuesday night. He was then penciled in. Then he was put back into the lineup initially for yesterday. Then had a ball that jumped up and hit him in the side of the head during early batting practice yesterday. They needed time to run him through the concussion protocol, which was clear and everything. But by the time they'd done that, they'd already had to put the official lineup card into the umpires. And so he sat out last night as well. Those are 2 unrelated incidents. What was going on Tuesday night was unrelated to getting hit yesterday. But I do think that the neurotic Twitter crowd, which I guess is probably the same as saying the Twitter crowd, can relax that he's not being traded and he's not coming up to the big league club. He is he's in the lineup for Fort Wayne tonight. He will spend the majority of the year in Fort Wayne, and those 2 guys remain the top 2 prospects in the organization by a pretty significant distance.
Yeah, it's hard to even think if they're going to get moved. Like, everyone calm down. It's okay. Not happening right now.
Yep.
Moving on to Lake Elsinore, David. Some guys to watch at Lake Elsinore, and are you guys going to be going up to Lake Elsinore here soon?
Yeah, so I was actually up at their season opener up in Rancho, and then the home opener last week when Cash Mayfield made his professional debut. Yeah, it was just a stellar effort. He threw 3 innings, didn't allow a hit. He struck out 6. And Jim, I know you don't have the deep grounding in minor league baseball that your buddy over there does, but I do want to note that that's a pretty good way to make a professional debut. John,
do you like that?
The details on that.
Yeah, do you like that, Jim? Like when players do really well,
that's good
in baseball.
Yeah.
That's a good thing.
Oh,
and when you go to all the bases and touch the home, that counts.
They score runs,
right, exactly.
The points are runs.
I've been trying to teach Jim about this.
I'm learning, but it's taking a while, David. It's taking a while.
Yeah, exactly. But that team up there with Mayfield, with the other big lefty who's the number 2. So Mayfield was their first overall pick out of high school in Oklahoma last year. Their second overall pick, another left-handed pitcher, Boston Bateman, who is also the son of a former professional football player. His dad was an offensive lineman. And again, he is 6'8", 240 and looks every bit of it. So those 2 guys are sort of the 2 key parts of the rotation up there. But a guy who's gotten way less attention than them is Brian Balzer, who's got a sort of a fascinating personal story. His father's American, but his mother's Japanese, and he mostly grew up over there. He signed out of high school in Japan with the Padres for only $10,000 because that's all the Padres could sign him for after they spent all the money on Ethan Salas. He had Tommy John surgery almost immediately. And by last summer, I saw him when he was just in rehab out of Peoria Sports Complex. It's just a pretty, I mean, he's easy 95, 96 at this point. He's got an interesting sort of story. And actually, John Conniff has a piece on him up on the site right now that just about the cool mentoring relationship he has with Yu Darvish. yeah, separate from all that, he's a 19-year-old with a really talented arm and is going to be another key starter up there. And then, it is definitely worth making the drive up to Elsinore right now. Offensively, you've got Lamar King, like I said. Sean Barnett is a guy who they are going to develop as a two-way player. He's hitting the ball really well. Had a little bit of arm soreness as he built up on the pitching side in spring training because he's not had that sort of workload before. But they are still planning for him to be working in relief by June and then DHing the other 4 or 5 games a week. He's an interesting guy. They just got Kavaris Tears, who was their 4th round pick last year, a really physical outfielder out of University of Tennessee who'd had some hamstring stuff since the time he signed. He finally got healthy. He joined them on Tuesday up in Fresno, and in his first professional game, just destroyed a home run. We put the clip of it out the other day. Ball went about 430 feet and bounced right off the top of the team bus that was sitting out beyond the right center field wall. Just again, an interesting guy to keep an eye on. And by next week, when they get back to town, it sounds pretty likely that they'll have Cobb Hightower, who's the 3rd round shortstop they took out of high school last year, who also was dealing with some hamstring stuff. But that all of a sudden in an organization that 3 months ago people felt didn't have an awful lot of depth, that low A squad could be a really interesting one to watch because of the individuals, but they've gotten off to a rough team start. Wound up with making almost a complete line change with their bullpen the other day, sent 5 guys back down to the complex and brought 5 new guys up to see if they can get themselves squared away a little bit at the team.
David, always appreciate it, man. Great insight for Padres fans. We're excited that the season is well underway, and we'll do it again as we continue rolling along, all right?
That was a way more insightful conversation with you than Darnay had with John today. Just wanted to
not even close.
Throw that out.
Well, and Darnay has the additional trouble of having to use small words and speak slowly so that John can keep up with him.
Shots fired, John.
Wow. David, thank you, my friend.
It's a pleasure. Have a good one, guys.
All right. We'll react, plus get you ready for this weekend for the Padres next. All right, hey guys, it is John and Jim again for the all-new Humboldt Casino Resort, the Players Place. They've got a great promotion going on this month on Monday nights. Monday Night Live, smashing Easter eggs every Monday in April. A chance to win big, 10 winners every hour, 7, 8, 9 p.m. Earn entries all month long by playing and get 2 times the entries on Wednesdays with at least $500 cash for all winners and a chance to win up to $25,000. It's a promotion you're not going to want to miss.
And with Easter this Sunday, celebrate Easter with the delicious brunch at Prime Cut featuring lobster tails, hand-carved prime rib, and more. Reservations are filling up fast, so make yours today. Also, by the way, John, did you know voting is now open for the Union Tribune's San Diego's Best Awards this year? Humboldt Casino, you can vote for them for local best casino, best sports bar, best nightclub, and more. So go vote for Humboldt Casino now.
They also have endless dining 5 nights a week, including over at Tony Gwynn's. You'll want to check it out. The all-new Humboldt Casino Resort, the Players Place. All right, San Diego FC back Saturday, taking on Charlotte FC on the road. You can hear the match live Saturday at 4, right here on San Diego Sports 760, your home for SDFC. You have a buddy in the media that covers Major League Baseball.
I have a buddy.
John Heyman.
Oh, we're buddies.
No, he blocked you actually on X.
That's true.
Which is now the dumbest thing ever, because if you're blocked by someone on X, you can just view their tweets.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
It makes no sense. Like, wait,
It's just like
what? It
So,
doesn't make any sense.
I'll
It's
go
like you're
to his-
blocked.
I'll go to his account. It says John Heyman has blocked you, but here are all his tweets. And I
Makes
can look
no
at everything.
sense.
Now, I can't retweet or like or respond to any of them, which
Right.
I'm okay with.
Yeah, I think you're okay.
But if he tweeted out some breaking news, I could at least still see it.
Right. It's like our buddy Jay Posner,
Who?
who's got me blocked, but I could view his tweets. So it's like the most. Why? By the way, why am I blocked by Jay Posner?
That's what we call thin skin. Everything.
It doesn't even make any
The
sense.
thinnest.
That's
of
what makes it so
skins.
hard. I don't care. We didn't
Yeah.
want to see your stuff anyway.
The thinnest of skin.
Anyway, what did John Heyman say?
Well, he is apparently trying to push a narrative. And you remember in the offseason when he went on I think he went on the fan, WFAN, up in New York. And one of the hosts
amazing.
kind of went down the lane of like, you're a shill for the Yankees.
Right.
type of thing. Didn't say it out loud. He didn't say you're a shill for the Yankees, but he essentially called him a shill for the Yankees, which and for Scott Boras, more importantly, it was just true. I mean, Heyman knows where his bread is buttered, and you got to keep a relationship with these agents, so you carry their water. If the agent tells you to try to push a narrative out there, he's going to push a narrative out there.
Mm-hmm.
And he pushed a narrative out there all offseason for Juan Soto and the Mets. And, when he got called pretty much a shill for Scott Boras, he acted like a child. And,
I remember it.
and cried and literally was like, I can't believe you would say
I'm not
that.
coming on the show again.
I'm never coming on the show
That's
again.
that was
Like,
ridiculous.
legitimately, that's what he said.
That was ridiculous.
Anyway, back to the point. He put out an article today pushing a narrative saying this: Padres star Michael King would be a great fit for the New York Yankees
Okay.
to sign in the offseason.
The Michael King, the player the Yankees traded to the Padres in the Juan Soto deal, that is
Yeah.
like a NL Cy Young frontrunner right now.
Yeah, the guy that wears number 34 in the San Diego Padres.
Got you. Yeah.
Yeah, he pitched over the weekend.
And he'd be a good fit on the Yankees.
I mean,
According to John Heyman.
What are we doing
Right.
here? Are you
He already was on the Yankees.
are you a reporter or are you
Right.
giving out opinion
Well,
pieces?
wouldn't he be a good fit for most of the teams based on the success he's enjoying right now?
He would be a good fit for any team.
Right. Now he's going to get paid. If the point is, hey, you're going to need a budget to afford Michael King. Okay.
Well, we all know that John Heyman was probably the only one in the media. And I caught it every time I mentioned John Heyman's name to Kevin about this, rumors around Cease and King in the offseason potentially being traded.
Mm-hmm.
I always heard you, Kevin. He threw a sarcastic laugh in the air.
Right.
And I was like, okay, I get it.
Yeah.
It makes perfect sense. I understand John Heyman. He is a shill for the New York market, which I mean,
right
to
to
the
the New York
Post, I
Post.
get it.
Yeah, exactly. Does that
But
get
he's also a national. Insider?
reporter. Yeah, I would
Reporter?
say. Yeah, but you're right. It's in the Post. You write about the Yankees, it gets clicks.
Yeah.
They know the name because he was just there. I'm talking about like New York Yankee fans. Yeah, like Juan Soto would be good in the Blue Jays lineup. Yeah, he would.
He'd be good
in the Padres
a
lineup.
lot of lineups.
Yeah, he'd be good when he becomes a free agent again in 100
Right.
years.
Yeah. So this pushed that narrative for when a free agent becomes a free agent, they should go to the Padres.
Yeah, that is a very weird headline. That is a very weird headline
I mean,
to write.
It's John Heyman. I don't expect
You
anything.
can't deal. He blocked you.
Again,
I don't
glad
know
he
why
blo-
he blocked you.
Well, I think I might have said something on social media about John Heyman one time, but it was never like
John Heyman's the worst.
it never was like a blockable thing.
Right. It wasn't a blockable offense.
It was funny the other day when I went to the game. I was like, "Oh, there's Tyler Wade to Aaron."
Is he have you blocked?
and he has me blocked on social media. But he also has like
Everyone,
80% of Padres Twitter blocked.
like Hosmer back in the day.
Yeah. And I go, oh, he blocked me on social media. Aaron's like, why did he block you?
That's so sad.
And it's like, well, I said he's not good.
Yes, and me and him are boys.
And she's like, well, no wonder he blocked you. She's like, I'm team Tyler Wade.
Oh, really?
She's like, I would have
Aaron would
blocked you
probably
too.
block you.
She's like, I'm blocking out the haters. If you said something negative about Tyler Wade, you deserve to be blocked. I'm like, well,
it's kind of the game.
Kind of
Yeah,
giving my opinion.
they're right.
telling
Professional athlete.
Yeah, telling you the truth. He actually, Tyler Wade, speaking of him, have you looked at his Instagram at all this year?
No.
I mean, if this baseball thing doesn't work out,
Instagram?
he could be a professional model.
So he blocked you on Twitter, and you've been spending time on Tyler Wade's Instagram?
Well, I saw it on social media, so I had to check it out. And I maybe he's trying a career in modeling. I don't know.
No, I think he's trying a career in baseball.
Well, I mean, it's not like baseball is going to be something he's going to be playing for the next 20 years. All right.
I mean, he's in the major leagues, but yes, he won't be doing it for the
I mean,
next
tell
20 years.
Shilty that.
If Shilty is the manager of the Padres for the next 20 years, then he'll
he
have
will
a
be.
spot on this roster. But like, look at this, dude. Tyler Wade. I don't know whose house that is, but it's a nice house.
Yeah,
I don't know why he's looking off in the distance like that.
it's probably his house. It's good radio.
That's not his house.
Yeah,
Let's
he
be real
lives
here.
on the beach.
Let's be real. That's not his house. If that's his house, he must be
Playing Major League Baseball.
getting some more money that we don't know about.
All right, on the other side, we're getting you ready for, again, this road trip
Where's my
that kicks
camera
off
doing that?
tomorrow. Plus, Jim's back page coming up, John and Jim.
All right, this update is brought to you by Anderson Plumbing, Heating, and Air. Padres, they have an off day today. They start a 6-game road trip starting in Houston tomorrow night, 5:10 first pitch. Kyle Hart will be on the mound for the Padres, and San Diego Football Club takes on Charlotte on the road Saturday night. 4 p.m. is when our pregame coverage starts. 4:30 kickoff right here on your home for SDFC, San Diego Sports 760. Rebate funds are running out fast. Don't get left behind. Anderson Plumbing, they're buying back your old water heater and giving you $500 in instant savings. Call Anderson PHA today.
All right, John and Jim, we do have Jim's back page coming up. Looking forward to getting out tomorrow. Coryell Golf Tournament brought to you by Aztec Link. We'll be out at Riverwalk here in Mission Valley, 2 to 6 tomorrow. We'll have Sean Lewis, Aztecs head coach, with us. JD Wicker will join the show. Trey White, the edge rusher for the Aztecs, and more. That's tomorrow from 2 to 6 right here on San Diego Sports 760.
Now, should I dress up in my golf gear?
Yeah, I was going to ask you that. I think the answer is yes. It's like a manager dresses up like he's playing a baseball game.
Like tuck in collared shirt,
like
maybe
what I'm
a
wearing.
Quarter zip.
Now, when you say golf gear, do you have like Payne Stewart, like golf gear with like the sock? That's what I want you to wear.
No, I would
go like slacks.
I would.
Boring.
I have like a golf shirt with my golf hat, quarter zip, and then nice pants. I'm not going to wear like my golf shoes or anything.
You should.
But I'll have them because I have my clubs in my car.
Yeah, bring your clubs
at all times. Oh, I'm definitely bringing my clubs.
What are you going to do with the clubs though if we're on the radio?
Things, I don't know.
You can do things with the clubs while we're on the radio. I mean, are you gonna play?
No, but if there's an opportunity for maybe to hit a drive off the tee, because we're gonna be close to a tee box, right? That's definitely something I'm gonna try to do.
I like it.
It'd be pretty difficult with like a headset on if the headset even goes that far.
Right. No, I'm going golf gear tomorrow. I'm going this.
Yeah.
Quarter zip, polo, slacks. You know,
wear your
pants.
Viore pants.
Yeah, exactly.
Not jeans. You don't wear jeans on a golf course.
I'm not wearing jeans to a golf course, dude.
Yeah, never wear jeans on a golf
You can't deal with that, right?
No.
But anyway, we'll be out there tomorrow from 2 to 6. Jim's back page is coming up. Padres have an off day here today. They'll open a series with Houston tomorrow. The Astros and the Padres 5:10 tomorrow from Houston, Texas. Padres, the best start in the history of the franchise, as we keep talking about 98, was 16-4, and they're 15-4 right now. Padres got to 16-4 in 1998. They've kind of been neck and neck all 20 games so far with that 98 team.
I have a feeling that we'll continue to talk about best start in franchise history because they're going to be tied or ahead of 98 if they continue to play like this, and you keep going along. And the farther you go along here, the more we're going to realize just like how great 98 was. Now they started off like a rocket ship,
hot.
And Mark Sweeney talked about it all the time when he was on with Darren. They played like 500 baseball in September. They might have actually played below 500 baseball in September.
Yep.
Like they're on pace for well over 100 wins.
Mm-hmm.
And they just did not play good in September. And then you get to the postseason and, to beat Houston and Atlanta. And then you face the Yankees, right? And going to that postseason, we probably, if we were on the radio, would be like, I don't know if this team's going to do it because they're not playing well.
It's a great point.
So like you continue to look at the pace the Padres are on right now, very early on, obviously, with the 98 pace. You just realize every time you look at it, 98 team was
You're
really
right.
good.
Like that shot out of a cannon good. Again, 15-4, 16-4. And you're right. Last year we were so enamored with their finish. We're like, this might be the best team in baseball right now based on how they're playing. And then they weren't when they ran into the Dodgers. And there's other teams that, like the 98 Padres, that maybe didn't close well in September, but did play well in the postseason until they got to the World Series. By the way, we just had David J. from Matt Friars on. And just a few moments after our conversation, Leo DeVries has hit his first home run of the season. He's done it in High A Fort Wayne tonight. So Fort Wayne with Leo DeVries. Remember, he had exited a game this week after legging out a triple. Well, he's back in the lineup, and DeVries has homered for a first time. He's one of these names like Salas that you've heard so much about, and that I don't know how far off they are. It's certainly not 2025, but you're talking about players that the Padres are going to be counting on moving forward. And I don't know when that is. Like, we're going to be so enamored with this 2025 season that it's not going to be about Leo DeVries and Ethan Salas. Right? Be like, man, once Leo gets here later this year, they're really going to kick it into high gear. But it is nice to know that, you got some of baseball's best prospects in the organization, including Leo DeVries.
Campy, I think, will hit a home run today as well.
That's good.
Am I seeing that?
He's
correctly?
had, and David was just saying how he's been like the leader offensively for El Paso this year in AAA. Although I don't know how he breaks through, honestly, other than health.
An injury.
Yep.
Luis Campusano, he's hit his 4th home run. This was a couple hours ago.
Right.
But the thing with Campy is defensively, that's, I guess, the issue. That's the reason why he's not there. And the big league club has chose defense over offense from their catcher position.
Right.
Like they have made it, and to their credit, they have been
worked
right.
out.
It's worked out so far. They have been right. Elias Diaz and Martin Maldonado behind the plate, much better than I thought they were going to be to start the year.
Mm-hmm.
Offensively, they are definitely coming back to their norms here. It's not like they're lighting the world on fire, but they're doing enough to justify their spots on this roster. And defensively, they're doing more than enough. Defensively, they're doing exactly what you have hoped. They're leading a pitching staff and a bullpen that's one of the best in baseball.
That's the thing. I mean, that really is the key. Now, you can't be a complete black hole. To your point, you have to get productivity out of your catchers, and they have for 19 games. But the true key there is if you are part of a battery with the best team ERA in baseball, or whatever it is, second best team ERA in baseball, then you give a lot of credit to Martin Maldonado and Elias Diaz. So it can't be. You know what? I hope he does play well. Maybe based on his play, he breaks through in some form or fashion. Like if the bat just plays, then it plays. I do wonder if it's ultimately with another organization for someone like Luis Campusano, because it doesn't appear as if he's really in their plans.
Well, I would just make sure to keep him on this roster, break glass in case of emergency.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with that. Yeah.
Switching gears here real quick, John. We are a week away from the NFL draft.
Correct.
Yeah. Did you see what Ashton Genty put out today?
That he would like to be drafted.
He put out this amazing, just like I don't even know what type of font this is. What Roman
Times New Roman?
Times New Roman. That's what it's called.
Roman numeral font. That's fascinating. Just numbers. Just lines.
Just guess what
X's
I said.
And V's.
Just guess.
XV, he said.
XV,
wow.
XVIIIV XIVVI.
Incredible.
Whoa, we should draft this guy. He's thinking next level here.
What'd he say, dude? That's hilarious.
I was going to say Comic Sans. I was like, that'd be even worse.
What'd he say?
He said this: I've taken the long way. I'm done with that way. If you pick me, it's simple. I'm coming to your franchise to do what Saquon and the Eagles just did. I'm coming to win big soon. It's all caps. Tackle football. You know what I'm saying? I draft the guy they can't tackle. Thank you for your time, Ashton Genty.
Are we sure he said that?
Are we sure he didn't say that? Because they're talking about right now on PTI.
Because I'm on his Twitter.
Well, it's not like he tweeted this, John. This was like,
this is the letter to NFL GMs and Players Tribute. That's a part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a full.
Yeah. So like scroll the end.
And here's what I would say about that. And
there you go. Right there.
I would say this. Relax.
Okay.
Do you agree? Like, okay, like I watched this guy up close and personal the last couple of years in college. This guy's a brilliant talent, but just because Saquon Barkley just had the greatest running back season in NFL history doesn't mean you're going to go win a Super Bowl when you get drafted and do the same thing, right?
So
that's
hard. What do you want to say? Oh, I just want to go to a good organization.
No, I get it. I get your
like.
I suck.
He's like,
I peaked in college.
Don't draft me.
No, I agree. I agree with that. I think he's going top 6. So is that controversial? Yes, he will go to the Raiders or higher.
Wow. I think
Raiders are 6th.
Okay.
So maybe when I say top 6, I think he'll go 6th.
Okay. I think he's going to be drafted between 6 and 12.
6 and 12.
Because where are the Cowboys at? The Cowboys are 12th, I think, right?
They would probably love him,
Oh
dude.
my God, Jerry.
He's also from Jacksonville, so you consider the Jaguars.
But Travis Etienne,
Okay.
they have
Okay.
him there. I'm looking at a team that needs a guy that can be every down back.
Let's look at the draft order. 6th are the Raiders, 12th are the Cowboys.
Okay, that's right.
Jacksonville's picking 5th, but your point's valid.
Mm-hmm.
He's not falling in this draft. I've watched this guy. We've all seen this guy. This guy is special. I'm just saying, like, when I'm like, hey, you just saw Saquon, that's what I'm gonna do. Maybe. Saquon spent his first 5 years with the Giants in basically irrelevancy because of the franchise.
Would you say Genty's the closest player to
Barkley
come out since Barkley?
Yeah, he looks just like him. Like his legs are tree trunks.
Yeah. And you look at his college career and just the last season, especially, very reminiscent of Saquon Barkley.
Absolutely.
As far as just like size, build, no one can tackle him. The way he runs the football. He's pretty unorthodox when it comes to in the backfield. He's like literally just standing straight up, which is, if I'm a defender, again, NFL, no one's scared of anybody, but in college, maybe playing some lesser teams and lesser players. And I saw that their big running back just standing there straight up. I'd be like, I'm scared.
No doubt.
Like this guy's gonna run me over right now. I feel like
the amazing thing is Barkley never had a year in college
close to that.
Anything close to Genty. No. Now he had spectacular plays. He had the Rose Bowl.
Like moments are comparable.
He was
for sure.
flashy like Genty, but Genty has been production and flashiness in his college career. His last 2 years at Boise State, I'm sorry, have been ridiculous. All right, Jim's back page is on the other side. right, John and Jim, a final time. Again, join us tomorrow. We'll be out at Riverwalk, part of the Coryell Golf event for San Diego State football. J.D. Wicker, Sean Lewis, Trey White, others will be on the show. We're live 2 to 6. Kevin Acey will join us tomorrow as well. I put something, is what I gave you for the back page in the back page today?
No. Of course it is.
Okay, good. Let's get to the back page.
So this is the story you sent me, John.
It's like the biggest story of the day.
Why is this not like trending worldwide?
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Why isn't every single station talking about this?
Mm-hmm.
Scientists swallow louder. You can't.
Hold on.
Jeez, dude. Oh God. If you haven't noticed, John swallows very loud.
I do.
Pause.
Sorry.
He's a loud swallower.
My bad.
Oh.
Cancel the show.
No. Anyway, scientists have found new but tentative evidence that a faraway world orbiting another star may be home to life.
Yeah, there's life on another planet.
Okay.
Like that's a pretty big deal. They're basically hanging out on other planets.
A Cambridge team studying the atmosphere of a planet called K2-18b, it's a good name, has detected signs of molecules which on Earth are only produced by simple organisms. This is the second and most promising time chemicals associated with life. It has been detected on the planet's atmosphere by NASA's James Webb Telescope. Are you excited about this, John?
I mean, I figured you would be, because how far away? It's only like 120 million light years away or something?
Yeah, only. Quote, this is the strongest evidence yet. There is possibility life is out there. I can realistically say that we can confirm this signal within 1 to 2 years.
So here's the thing, though. If I was told right now there's life on another planet and it's 120 million light years away.
It's actually 124.
Million or just 124?
124.
Who's counting though?
But I wouldn't even care if they told me right now, like, you should see they got the best quarterback in the world, in the universe out there. I'd be like, you're 124 light years away. I'm not going to lose sleep over it.
Listen to the size of this thing.
How big?
It's huge.
How big?
K2-18b is 2.5 times the size of Earth and is 700 trillion miles or 124 light years away from us, a distance far beyond what any human could travel in a lifetime.
Could I get there on Amtrak? Is this a coaster?
Could I drive there?
Can I Uber?
How much the Uber ride would be?
It's 2.5 times the size of Earth.
That's what I just said. Yeah.
That's not that big. There's some that are bigger, dude. Have you ever heard of those things like supernovas and stuff?
Supernova is not a
Yeah, that's a
planet.
star.
It's a star.
Whatever. Is that stars are planets? I thought.
No, they're not. Stars are stars.
Champagne, supernova.
It's Oasis.
Okay, whatever. What do you got?
Anyway, so there you go. Life on another planet.
Yeah, that's. I don't know if I'm excited for that though. I've seen that movie a bunch of times and it never works out good.
There's life on other planets.
Other than E.T., it's
Right.
never good.
I mean,
Usually something
truthfully,
that wants to kill everyone.
I've been a leader of the charge of like, I want to see life on another planet, but I don't want to, it doesn't really move my needle if it's just like molecules.
Yeah, it's not that cool.
I need somebody that actually is like, hi, I'm from another planet.
But why do you want it? It's like, are you really wishing for it to, like, it'd be like, I wish there were dinosaurs. And then like you're hanging out with them and you really don't, because they're crushing your house and like eating your children.
Got a point.
Right? I wish there were dinosaurs. No, you don't, actually. You're fine the
We're
way
all
it is.
dead.
Yeah.
Yay. Moving on. So Darren Rovell
Yep.
tweeted this out today.
Sports business
And he
reporter.
tweets out a lot. I go to him for a lot of like stuff on the back page.
Yeah. Definitely.
And he tweets out a lot of like food, like special food items at ballparks, and they're always amazing. Like giant sundaes with like
Yeah.
Oreos,
The great desserts.
Yeah, desserts. Or
Mhm.
like a banana bread pudding at Petco Park is like something I think he probably would have tweeted out, right?
Yeah, probably.
So he tweeted this out today. New at Marlins games.
Okay.
The ultimate hot dog platter. Listen to this, Brent. 4 hot dogs, 4 Polish sausages, and 4 corn dogs, plus loaded French fries with sausage and hot dogs on top.
Ew.
I want you to guess, Brent. I'll show you.
It doesn't
how much?
look great.
How much is that?
It's just like
that
hot dogs.
like I could go and make that myself.
So how many hot dogs?
4 hot dogs, 4 Polish
We'll count
sausages.
all the how many meat sticks?
things.
12. Thank you, John.
totals.
12, and then loaded fries, and this is at a ballpark.
That's not
so.
right.
I would say probably at least $3 per meat stick. We'll just call them. And I'm being generous, John. So let's
Meat stick.
I'd say $45.
Try
Hell no.
$85.
I thought it'd be more, truthfully. Now it looks like
Yeah.
it's worth about $2.
I could make it for, no joke, less than $25. I could go to the store. I could buy corn dogs, hot dogs, buns, ketchup, mustard, and French fries frozen in the
but
frozen aisle
that
for
applies to
$30.
everything.
It does apply to everything.
I can make
It's like if you
everything
go
at
to the
home cheaper
club,
than a
It's
restaurant.
like you buy a bottle of like vodka at a club. It's like $300. You just go to the liquor store. It's like $18.
Now, some of the comments are amazing.
Who goes to Marlins games?
Someone said this would feed the entire fan base.
Yeah, they announced 7,000 yesterday at home, and they're over 500.
I mean,
How many are they selling of these a night? One?
If that does,
Yeah,
it's so funny because the picture that's posted, one of the corn dogs at the bottom, you know, when it opens it up at the bottom,
yeah.
it's burned and it's kind of
so
like
burnt.
wrinkly
It looks
and it doesn't
awful.
taste good. There's another corn dog. There's another hot dog here that's literally charred. It's all black.
I like a little char on my hot dogs.
But for $85, I need like the best hot dog possible.
But you could feed the whole family for $85.
I mean,
If you look at it that way, it's not that
yeah.
bad because if you take Jones
True.
to a game and
It's-
you're between you, Jones, and your wife, how much
you
do you
could
spend on
some
food?
Dude. Jim was with us the other weekend. I'm buying this. I'm buying that.
Cotton
buying banana
candy and all
bread
that
pudding.
stuff, and
but banana bread pudding.
It was only $8.
I know. If it was $85,
Yeah,
I
give me
actually might.
dude,
be
if
okay
I
with
get
it, too.
that, I'm disappointed, and I'm going to blame you guys. You hyped it up way too
So
much.
good.
No, Brent.
You'll like it.
You haven't hyped it up enough.
No, I mean, like we've hyped it up
appropriately.
appropriately
Okay.
here.
Okay.
You will if you buy it.
It's on my list, and I go at
Do
some
you
point.
like bananas?
Yeah,
Okay, so then you'll like it.
Do you like bread?
yeah. It's
Do you
okay.
like
Do you like
Pudding?
pudding?
Yeah,
Do you like
Then you'll love
wafers?
it.
yeah.
Then you'll love
There
it.
you go. Do you like cream?
Depends.
Don't worry, there's no.
Oh, now
onions
I
in
see
it.
where you get every back page.
I hope
story.
not.
I'm scrolling through his Twitter. It's every Jim's back page. We could get rid of the segment. Just follow Darren Ravel on social media.
You know what?
What else you have? Real quick.
Finally, Chipotle is giving away free entrees on April 21st after 3 p.m. Chipotle is celebrating the 2025 Stanley Cup playoffs with the return of its popular Wear Your Hockey Jersey promotion on Monday, April 21st, starting at 3 p.m. Customers who visit Chipotle in the U.S. and Canada while wearing a hockey jersey will be eligible to receive a buy one, get one free offer.
You hear that? Wear your goals jersey. We'll see you tomorrow at Riverwalk. Talking San Diego State football, getting you ready for a spring showcase. For Brent and Jim, I'm John. Keep it here, San Diego Sports 760.
Okay, bye.